So, hello, and welcome. And I didn't have any cool, fun music to go along with this, and I probably should have. That was my mistake, but that's okay. I'm Dreaming Tabitha, an artist here on YouTube, and welcome to this afternoon of painting with a lovely guest. It's actually the first YouTuber that I've painted with that is returning on this wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. And you know what? Without further ado, have already seen her name in the thumbnail and everything like that. We're going to go ahead and bring her on. That would be the wonderful. Oh, well,
I'm little.
minor. I was playing with the settings and everything like that. And oh yes, I was going to say, it's like you kind of sound like you're far away, but there it is.
I keep forgetting to like bring my mic over. Yay!
But welcome back, Steph, aka My Nerdy Home, to
Thank
the
you.
channel. Last time we painted a turtle, a cute little turtle that I honestly fell in love with after we were done painting. I mean, I liked it when we first started, but after I looked at it later on, I'm like, this is so cute.
I love it. It's hanging up over there.
Oh, that's so
It's hanging up in my room.
well. And then the other thing is that we're going like in opposite directions completely of last stream's theme. Very, very different this time around. And I'm going to have Steph explain some things to me. But today we are going to be painting Red Hood. Now, when she explained, like when she first mentioned that to me, I kind of was thinking like Little Red Riding. I was like, okay. I mean, whatever. That's fine. That's okay. But yeah, so I'm going to be having a lot of questions for her today because, as you can tell by her background and everything, and having gotten to know Steph a little bit, chit chatting here and there, she's definitely a bigger pop culture person than I am. I'm pretty sure everybody knows who you are, but I do have a small community of just art folk that may not know who you are. Would you like to enlighten the people before we get started?
Yeah. My name is Stephanie, aka My Nerdy Home. I am a part of Geeks and Gamers, and I do stuff on YouTube. Lately, I've been talking about pop culture stuff, and also I started a series called TikTok Talks, which I pretty much get a lot of information out of my head and just put it out there for you guys to know about. It's topical things that are happening on TikTok. So yeah, we just talk about that, and we sort of cringe at it, and it causes a bigger discussion. That's what I like. That's why I like talking about these topics. And I also stream on TikTok and on Twitch and Kick. I am a terrible gamer, and so I only stream about 3 games. I rotate between 3 different games, and I build Legos. I'm a huge DC fan.
In the words of Professor Snape, obviously. I did not know that about the Legos. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I tried to get into Legos when I was younger because my brother is a fanatic when it comes to the Legos. He loves the Legos. He can build anything. He's just gifted that way. And I tried. I am not. I tell people all the time I'm an artist. I'm a career but I'm not an engineer. So I can have really cool ideas, but I'm gonna need to outsource that to somebody. Like, okay, I want to have this, make it fly, make it light up and turn purple. I don't know how that would happen, how that would work, but I'm just going to let you figure that out because I can't do it. And I would get so mad at him because he could build and he was so good at it. And it took me forever to figure out what I was good at.
Yeah. Oh no, I can't like take, like Legos and just build whatever. I follow the instructions. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can do that too, but even then it's somehow, even if I follow the instructions, it's still not quite as good.
Yeah, this is my little Batmobile that I did. I'm doing the bigger one right now. It's on the floor. I need to start another building stream up, but yeah, this is the small one.
I like the blue fire in the background.
Yeah.
Let me see here. And I've got a loud keyboard. But anyway, Got to put this stuff out there. But anyway, okay. So we are going to create this character. And we're going to go ahead and get started. And of course, we'll be asking Steph some questions along the way about many things. But we're going to start with the basics, and that would be outlining our character. Obviously, less intense, less menacing when he looks like this. So we're going to work on that. We want to definitely intensify that. I know my keyboard's really loud. Retro Collective. It's not rest in peace. It's supposed to sound like that. It's supposed to sound like that. I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to keyboards, like I like the thick clickety clack,
I love the clickety clacks.
Yeah, high raised ones. There's like like you're guaranteed no ghosting with the keys and everything. And so it sounds, for some people it might sound really annoying, but like I really love it. I need to probably get one for when I'm streaming so it's not so clickety clack.
I love the clickety clacks though.
But I can't stand it. Like the laptop keyboards that are already built in, I hate them so much. So yeah, so we're doing, I've already got mine out, but we've got our head, we've got just the bare basics of this guy's, I don't know, is he wearing a trench coat? Is he wearing a cape like Count Dracula?
No, it's not a cape, it's a jacket. He's wearing a jacket.
Okay. It's been a while since I created this, and so I kind of forgot what all he looked like.
He's actually in this one right here. Hold on.
Oh, we've got references.
That looks like the classic one. He's in this jacket.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense now. Okay.
Yeah.
He's pretty intense looking. He kind of looks like a what is it, like a Nightwing, Deadpool, Wolverine kind of mixture, because he's got this leather jacket, but he's got the red face. He got the bat symbol on him.
Yeah. Well, he's a member of the Bat family, so
I did not know there was a Bat family.
Yeah. This is the Bat family back here.
Okay. Well, I see Wonder Woman. Tell me she's not part of the
Oh, no. That's just a random Wonder Woman.
Oh, it's a random. Hey, Demanjanai, welcome. And Chan DC. Put him in a Snuggie. Well, on certain days, I'm sure he enjoys it. And then, of course, we've got the bat symbol. So I don't know if you have everything traced out already.
I'm doing the bat symbol.
Sure. So interesting. The Bat family. So, I mean, I know that there's Batman, of course, obviously. And then, there was Robin, and then there's been a myriad of
different Robins.
And different kind of Batmans or whatever. Isn't Nightwing? Do I have that correct?
Yeah, so Nightwing is Dick Grayson.
Right.
He was the first Robin, and he went out on his own because he grew up and he became Nightwing.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So yeah, because I mean, I watched some of the cartoons, I watched this and that. I just didn't retain the information. I didn't know that this would benefit me when I was younger, or as I was younger into getting older. I didn't realize that I'd be hanging out with a bunch of pop culture nerds as I was getting older. And so it really makes me wish. And the funny thing is that growing up, like my brother and I, he knows a lot more than I do, but out of our whole family, we kind of just really felt like uber nerds, honestly. Because like some of my family have never even seen Star Wars, like the original Star Wars. Like what's
really?
It's a problem I want to remedy one day. And then
you haven't remedied that yet.
I haven't. I plan to. I have this one aunt in particular. She's been showing me older movies, which I love, like 12 Angry Men and things like that, Cary Grant films and whatnot. And so I am going to show her one day. I'm going to sit down and we're going to watch A New Hope. Like,
go.
You have to see this.
So I heard that drunk 3PO likes Attack of the Clones more than A New Hope.
I caught that.
Did you catch that? I actually added that into the clip from yesterday's stream.
I feel offended by that.
Yeah.
I don't understand the comment, because I was watching that last night and it was like, and then it just kind of veered off and the guys were talking about hormonal actions and things like this. And I'm like, so is Attack of the Clones better simply because it was like, to me, okay, people are going to hate, like, there are some elements of Attack of the Clones that are really great. But to me, Attack of the Clones is the twilight of the Star Wars industry. Tell me I'm wrong. Come on, guys. Come on. It was really
I love
cringy.
Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love the prequels.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put Attack of the Clones ahead of New Hope. His reasoning behind it, though, was really adorable. When he was, it's really adorable. His reasoning behind it. Hold on, let me pull it up because I can show you. Hi,
Hello,
Beardo.
hello.
Let
And
me
Emily
pull it up.
Kruger
I
in
can
the
show you his
house.
reasoning. It's super cute. Hang on.
Thank you. Somebody says it's fair. Javisama? It's fair not to remember it at all. There are like 1,000 different Batmans alone. Okay. All right. So I'm not, Chan DC says Jay also tripped poo. So there you go. Retro Collective says Attack of the Clones should have been 2 parts. I don't know, but I feel honestly, I think that Revenge of the Sith should have been 2 parts. I personally, I enjoyed it, but I felt like it was rushed a little bit for me. But yeah, when he made that very, that meme that says, "Why would you?" Well, it says, "Why would you say something so controversial but so bold," or something like that. And that's what I was wondering. I'm like, was he just doing it for the clicks? Because like that's a really quirky, if I might be nice about it, statement to make.
Yeah.
Here we
Like,
go.
what?
Do you think it's good?
Yeah.
You think
I like it better than A New Hope?
Attack of the Clones?
Yeah.
You like Attack of the Clones more than A New Hope?
Yeah.
Jerry's
I love it, man. When Yoda
We all were just
opens up his robe and pulls out that lightsaber, that is like freaking amazing, dude. Is there cringe dialogue in it? Of course there is. But let me tell you something. Young Anakin Skywalker gave hope to all of us nerds that you could be a whiny, pathetic person with a lot of power, with terrible catchphrases and pickup lines, and still get the hottest girl in the galaxy. That's what it did for people like us.
There you go. That was his reasoning, which is I thought.
Okay. I can accept that.
Yeah.
Okay. If that's the reason why, then I absolutely can accept it. Because I was like, yeah, like I said, I stand by what I said. Attack of the Clones is the twilight of the Star Wars universe because it was very cringy dialogue. I honestly, as handsome as Hayden Christensen is, and I understand all say it was George's fault, but he just was not a good actor, in my opinion, in these movies because he really did come off as this really whiny, emotional teenage boy. And I really, and then to think that and then we all know everybody's got a past, but to think that guy became my absolute favorite Star Wars person, villain, whatever you want to say, to me it doesn't mesh very well. I would have liked it because it seems like Anakin in Phantom Menace was a lot more bold. And I know we all go through changes when we're teenagers and whatnot, and there's things, but like he was a lot more confident and bold, I think, in Phantom Menace than he was as a teenager in Attack of the Clones. And I think this is why I have a hard time with it. And again, no hate necessarily to Hayden Christensen, because a lot of people said it had to do with George Lucas's directing. I know I've heard people say he should not be so much a director as he is like the producer. I guess it just depends on the people. But it just like, yeah. Wow, Jay is wild for that. Well, again, I think I agree with Steph. It's a very cute reason.
It's a very cute reason. It's an adorable reason. So I won't fault him too much for it. But
right. I can extend the forgiveness here on the internet. But as good looking as Hayden Christensen says, I prefer my main man, Ewan McGregor. It depends. I think it all really depends again. But so maybe because Ewan McGregor had a lot more, or Obi-Wan Kenobi had a better personality. And also to remember, and this is something that I do love about George Lucas's works in Star Wars, is that Hayden Christensen did not have a very big resume. And I know Ewan McGregor was still working on his, but he had more experience. And I love that George Lucas would use really no-name actors and give them a chance at stardom. And I do love that. So there's much about it that I love, but overall, I would never say Attack of the Clones was better than A New Hope.
Anyway, I love it though. You got to give him that. He's just like, I don't care.
I can't
care what y'all say.
Sometimes I can respect that, and sometimes I just can't because all right. So with our character,
I got it sketched. It's all right. I don't like the bat, but I'll fix it when we paint. But I got it sketched.
Right. Okay. Oh, that looks fantastic. So just remember that as we go along, number one, it's not going to be really pretty here in the beginning. And
Yeah.
then secondly, this is, let me bring back our original one here. This is a lot more of like a kind of a grunge free form style. So there are going to be elements to it that may or may not make sense, but in general, you're going to understand. Like honestly, this is a terrible coat. Like one shoulder, I think, is higher than the other. Now I followed the example I was given, okay? But one shoulder's kind of higher than the other. They're not quite even. It's everything's not perfectly symmetrical and whatnot, and that's okay because it's really just about the artistic style. Even you will add your own to it as well. But here we go. I'm gonna set this up so I can look at it. I'm gonna go ahead and grab I believe I told you to bring a 1-inch flat brush. The slightly bigger, it's roughly 2 finger spaces wide.
I mean, I have an angled one, which should work, right?
It
I
can.
could use
It can. We can
Yeah.
make it work. It's not preferred, but we can make it work.
it.
Okay. So we are just going to kind of rough out the edges here and get an idea. So I'm going to dip. Let me grab my paint over here. Ignore the disturbance over here in the forest, but we're just using white, black, and red. So I'm just going to dip one side of my brush into a little bit of red here.
Red.
And just kind of, I say outline. Now this doesn't have to be a perfect because we're going to clean things up in our with our background later on. And again, it's supposed to be kind of a grungy free form. The style makes the gaze a lot more intense than it would be if it was clean. Let me put it that way. And just kind of go around the edges of the face here.
Okay.
The reason that we're just going to do some line work here at first is because we're using acrylic paint. And when it dries, and then you go back over top of it, it adds these layers to it that you will be able to see. So let me just kind of get a rough thing. And this is good practice for us too, because a lot of times we really want to have really good control over our paintbrush, over the strokes, where everything's are going. But just kind of doing, if you will, a sketch of paint will prepare us for when we start adding details and going around. So right now we're just kind of getting used to the brush and getting ourselves accustomed to imperfection, I should say. Hey, it is JT from Late Night with Cat
Hi.
Podcast saying
JT
hello,
Gunter.
hello. Stunning and Brave Megatron says happy Valentine's Day, lady. It's Galentine's, all right? It's
Yeah.
Galentine. This afternoon it's Galentine's Day.
I'm ready for it to be the perfect time to start drinking. That's what I'm waiting for.
What do they say? It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Let's see. Here we go. And I'm even going to do a little bit around the jacket. Now, I know that he's got in this picture, he has a black jacket on. Maybe not in the cartoon, or excuse me, in the comic books or in the, what's it called? Lost the word. The toys action figures. But for here, again, it's just to kind of help us out. So just take and again, you can see here, it's just kind of rough, like looks like a little child has done it, which is perfect. That's what we go for. Okay, so while we're doing this, I don't think it takes too much concentration. You were talking about the Bat family. So does that just mean, is that like pop culture nerd terms for the entire collection of the folks that have come and gone as Bat people? Or is that like, okay, there's, kind of like the Fantastic Four. You've got Reed Richards. You've got,
No, they're set as so Batman is, Batman, and then they're all of his different Robins. So this is one of the Robins. This is actually Jason Todd.
Okay.
And he becomes Red Hood later. But there have been a lot of Robins. So there's been there's Nightwing, the Dick Grayson. There's Damian Wayne, who's Bruce Wayne's son, Tim Drake. There's also Batgirl, Barbara Gordon. So those are all members of the Bat family.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily all at one time per se.
No.
Okay.
No.
It's not like mom and dad
And
and
Cassandra Cain.
okay.
Yeah.
Somehow I did not know that Batman had a child, even though Batman's like my favorite DC character. I didn't know he was a father. So who's the mom?
Yeah.
Mrs. Batman? Batwoman? Who's the mom?
It's oh my god, why is the
Or is
name
that
not coming
is that
to
a
me? It's
spoiler?
part of the League of Shadows.
She's been around for probably 20 some years. So
Stunning and Brave Megatron says Damien doesn't count.
Damien doesn't count.
He's a little annoying. I actually like him though. I don't mind him.
I don't know. With a name like
he's big.
Damien, you're prone to annoy. I'm just
Talia, thank you, Jonathan. Talia al Ghul.
Oh,
I don't know why I could not
Okay.
remember her name. It wasn't coming to me.
Okay.
Talia, that's her.
So she is the mother of what's his name?
Of Damien.
Of Damien.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Interesting. I find that very interesting. Okay. So in the DC universe, you know a lot about many people. Is Batman among the top favorites, I would assume, since you have quite the collection, or is there a favorite?
Oh yeah, I love Batman. He's my favorite.
Oh, he is. Oh,
Mhm.
why? Why is he? I know why he's one of my favorites. Apparently, I have a affinity or a passion or whatever, a draw, if you will, to the darker people, the dressed dark people, like Darth Vader, Batman, all these kinds of things. But I have my reasons. What are your reasons for Batman being a favorite?
Well, I love Batman and I love Joker and I love their whole, dynamic and antithesis to each other, as one has, a code and doesn't kill him. The other one just doesn't care. He's completely chaotic.
Yeah.
But Batman, it lives in a world where like evil exists and he struggles with it. And I like his internal struggle and his dark past. And every day he tries to he's just at war with the city and at war with himself and just trying to make Gotham safe. So
I like that as well. I do. I think we all like us a little bit of a dramatic backstory for sure. But I also really, one of the things I've kind of really enjoyed about Batman is the fact, and people, they get all smacky on the internet, but it's like, I love the fact that he has no superpowers, but can go up against these villains and even some of the superheroes that have superpowers, and Batman just kind of always
because
comes out on top.
he's extremely smart. He's a genius. I mean, he has a whole plan to take out the Justice League.
He is the ultimate
yeah.
Boy Scout. Always be prepared.
Yeah, he's the world's greatest detective. I mean, he's extremely smart.
And I think that's really, really cool, really stunning. It's almost like the Tony Stark situation, where even though he has the power suit and whatnot, but like Tony Stark doesn't have any superpowers either, and I really enjoy that. Jevis, how do we pronounce this? Jevis-sama, who is everyone's favorite Joker, voice acted or live action acted, and which actor, voice actor? I have a hard time keeping up with all of that. Again, I am familiar with a lot of things, but the background and why and the variations, the actors who played them, like these are not necessarily things that I paid attention to growing up. Before we get to that, though, I don't know how your line work is coming along, but I'm going to go ahead. The face is, of course, the most important element. But again, we're going to be able to clean things up. So I'm going to kind of show you, before we move on, just some of the stroke patterns that I'm doing inside of the bat here. And this will be easy to clean up if we don't like it, we mess up. We don't want to start off in the face necessarily, but there's not a lot of rhyme or reason. I like it to be a little grungy and a little chaotic. Now we're going to go over this again later on because you can see it's very pale. And as we add black to it, it will change the dynamic as well. But just kind of fill it in, because a lot of this is preference. And again, like I said, we're doing grunge, it's free form. And in this kind of style, while we're painting an exact something, we know we are painting a man. We know we are painting a superhero, or I don't know, anti-hero. I'm not exactly sure. We have an exact thing, but the way that we're painting it is not necessarily with full exactness, which gives us a little bit of liberty here. One of my favorite Jokers, because I think a lot of it has to do with nostalgia, just what I was first introduced to and everything like that. I love from the movie, what is it? The Batman and the not the Phantasm. Is it what's called? The I can't remember the title of the movie.
Mask of the Phantasm.
Thank you. I love the Joker in that one. I forget who voiced him. That wasn't Mark Hamill, was it? Was that his era? Oh, that looks good. That looks good. It's a little too clean, Steph.
Is
It's
it?
it's a little too good, okay?
You can see all the. Is it too clean?
I'm kind of joking. Like
Oh.
it is up to your preference, but that's the thing of this kind of style. It teaches us to, as they say, let our hair down, loosen up a little bit. But if you want it to look cleaner, please feel free. Like I said, if you look at my bat here, you can see I've got some pieces that are a little bit messed up, a little bit out. I'm not worried about that. And then I filled in this bat here, and you can see where the brush stroke patterns have stopped and left behind, and where I changed direction and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So, like I said, and you can see this is a thick bat, by the way. This one ain't missed dinner in a hot minute. So when
I'm trying to follow your lead. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to go slow. I forget that even though this is, if you will, a simple kind of painting, obviously I have more experience than most of my guests. And so I think I'm going slow because I think it's simple enough to explain. Be like, just kind of go like this, and there you go. And then a lot of times, yeah, people will hold up their paintings, and I see they just got the outline done. Have you ever seen that skit from Bill Cosby? I know, shh, but I love his skits. But
She went, shh. I didn't say that name. I didn't mention that actor.
I love me old Bill Cosby. I can't help it. I grew up with that too. The man is hilarious. Is it awful? The stuff that I guess he did, I don't know. He got let out. I'm confused. I didn't keep up with everything. But anyway, there was this one skit where, I think it was at one of the Cosby shows where they got this like really fancy coffee machine, and he's reading the directions, and he's got somebody following the directions, and he's like, all right, get the bag, open the bag, pour the coffee, 2 scoops, push the button, pull the lever. And he's like, what do you got? And he's like, I got the bag open.
I got the bag open.
I got the bag open. And so when I'm painting that, I think about that every time, because it's like, oh, I have gone too far. Let me see. A Power 900 says my 2 favorite VAs of Joker will always be Mark Hamill and Kevin Michael Richardson.
I got red on my. I enjoy Mark Hamill, not as a person, but
right
as the voice of Joker. Yeah,
yeah.
It's so nostalgic for me to hear Mark Hamill's Joker. So Mark Hamill for sure, 100%. I enjoy Jack Nicholson's Joker. For live action. And oh my gosh, what is his name? I can't pronounce it. Cameron hold on.
I know I wasn't a fan of
Cameron Monaghan. Cameron Monaghan. So he played the Joker in the Gotham series.
Okay.
He wasn't called the Joker in that series, but he technically played a few versions of the Joker in that series, which was actually pretty cool. The fact that they brought in so many different versions of the Joker. He's technically not the Joker. He's like a completely different character because for whatever reason they didn't have like the rights to have like the Joker. So he was like a different character.
How do you not have the rights when you're doing a Batman show to not have the rights to the main
I don't
character?
understand how it worked, but they weren't allowed to like call him the Joker.
Sounds like the Rings of Power all over again. Like we have the
they
rights
weren't allowed to call him the Joker in that show,
characters.
but they dressed him up as like different versions of the Joker. He did really well, I thought. So I liked him. I enjoy Heath Ledger's Joker for like the type of Joker that he was going for.
Yeah, he wasn't my favorite Joker, but he was the best kind of Joker for that kind of style
universe.
Of film,
yeah,
for sure, hands down. He depicted the chaotic mindset so brilliantly. Is where I did not like the Jared Leto? How do you pronounce that last name?
The Jared Leto Joker.
I just couldn't get it. Was too different for me.
It was very different. I liked the type of Joker that they were going for because it was I liked the type of Joker that they were aiming for. I understood where they were coming from. But it was just the execution and all the editing of it too, because like honestly I was looking forward to Jared Leto's Joker because
Okay.
in the initial trailer, Suicide Squad trailer, you know, he looked menacing. He looked really weird. Now his design is kind of take it or leave it because, you know, the whole tattoos on his face and everything. I liked that
Yeah.
he had a lot of people didn't like his teeth, but I liked the idea of he's lost so many teeth because he's just been punched in the face so much by Batman and you know, he has to have the grill.
Yeah.
So I liked the idea behind the teeth. But in the way that they edited that movie together, and the way that they portrayed the Joker,
He just seemed a little
it
weak.
didn't really come together very well.
A little weak to me to be a Joker. Like
Right.
it just, it didn't come across any sense. There we go. Look at the choppiness. We love a messy
it.
bat symbol. Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So, all right, now we're going to be going into the face. Now for this, I'm going to switch out brushes. I'm just going to put this one. Oh, bless you. Bless
Yeah.
you. She's allergic to the grunge, guys. Most people are. It's really difficult to.
I'm allergic to the air. Gosh,
I'm allergic
I
to
have
the
so
air.
many allergies. It's terrible.
I hate to hear that. I don't have any that I know of. Although the other day I broke out in my eyelid in this weird patchy, I mean TMI, but this weird patchy itchy skin, and I'm like, dear God, what did I touch? Because it's not everywhere else. And this is not the first time that's happened, but I don't really change much about what I do. And my foods are the same. And I'm like, what did I touch? Because like it was like this big patch here. And I remember like a year ago, I had the same thing, but it was on both eyes. And I'm like, I have no answers. I don't know how to prevent this from coming.
You know, what's funny is you mentioned that. Like I have a dry patch like right here, and it's so dry that it is it hurts. Like I have to put Vaseline on it. I don't know what
And the
happened.
eyes are so sensitive.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but it's so dry that it hurts. And it's been bugging me.
Oh, I hate
for
that.
a few days. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it starts to I don't know about yours, but mine would like start to flake, but you can't really rub it off because it's such a sensitive area. So it's like, and you try to do your eye makeup and you've got like this patch of clumped colors, and you're like, all right,
yeah. No,
blend.
that's why I got the Vaseline. I've had to put it like right here and Vaseline like around my nose, like right here, because it's so my skin is just so dry right now.
It's awful. I don't like it either. Anyway, I'm switching over to a smaller brush, a 1/2-inch flat brush. I don't know if you have one of these or if you have a smaller angle brush that you want to paint with.
I have that.
Oh, good. Okay. So because the face is obviously a little smaller, a little bit more detailed. So what I'm going to do is, again, we're going to just dip the one edge into the brush. I don't want to have too much paint on it. And above the eyes, we're going to kind of create the brow bone here.
Okay, you're dipping in red, yeah?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Sticking with the red. And so I'm going to try to find, the center of the eye first and then go over just a little bit. So here's our center, and I'm going to go over a little bit. And again, we can always adjust this. So no panicking, no panicking.
Well, I don't like the way I drew the eyes though. All right. I got it.
Well, we can adjust. So I'm just going to kind of find and try to use what you do know about human anatomy. I know that sounds really complicated, but like you'll know, like when you start going, you're like, this is too angled. It's too much. So it's okay to kind of adjust course because a lot of this is going to get covered up. So I'm going to find kind of the outer corner, and we're just going to do a little line like that. Nothing complicated. It's not too harsh of an angle. I think we could work with that. And we're going to do that on both sides. We'll try to get them as even as possible. But again, it's okay if it's not perfect because number one, humans in and of ourselves, like it's very rare that you'll find somebody whose facial features are exact the same on both sides. And then also, again, considering the style that we are doing a little bit of grunge. And by the time that we're reaching the end, you're not going to notice all of the details unless you study it. You're going to look at the picture as a whole. So find the center, move over, kind of. And I noticed that even with the original painting, his eyes were a little off anyway. So that just gave me hope for the future because I was like painting this. I'm like, why do these eyes not line up? They do not match up. What is wrong with this? And it's like, oh, that's how it was created. So that's what we're going to do. Jared Leto's Joker was very, if the Joker was a drug dealer. Yeah, that's the vibe that I got. And I just didn't like it because in a way, Joker has a sophistication about him. Like an unexplainable sophistication. Leto by a mile, the worst Joker, a cross between Nicholson's aristocratic, just words are hard, aristocratic Joker and Ledger's chaotic Joker would have been.
See, that's what was missing was like the chaos, and they didn't show that. They more showed like this. I don't want to say like the simpy side of Joker, but like he was, with Harley.
Yeah.
The only chaotic part was that like he shot that dude at the club, and I don't know. It was just like it was kind of disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking forward to more of that because I liked the idea of like another gangster Joker, like he's a different type of a gangster Joker, but like they just didn't expand upon it. And I get it; it's not his movie.
Yeah.
But I guess he was supposed to be the main villain.
I think the Joker, honestly, I mean, let's give everybody a round of applause for attempting things. Oh, there we go. But the Joker is such an interesting and deep kind of character that I think it's very tricky to get him just right, especially if you want to put your own spin on it. And it's kind of like our artwork here. Everybody could try to create the same image, but we all have a way of how we would rather see it with this as a base. And so trying to, and then the other thing is too, a lot of us cry for new and improved or whatever, things. And it's like, okay, well, we're just going to do this with one of the most iconic villains in comic book history. And it's like, okay, so coming under the eye, now we are going to find the center and go at an angle, and we're going to do these little, I like to think of them as little Spider-Man lines here. We're just going to kind of create some cheekbones, essentially.
Cheekbones.
Essentially, but it's a little off from being totally perfect, but I think that has to do with the style of the mask to make things. Sometimes you go out of the box of what it should look like because it looks cooler. It doesn't make sense. Kind of like, you ever seen that picture of the stormtroopers' helmets and the diagram of why stormtroopers can't shoot straight or never get hurt? Because, like, I guess the way that they had the design of the helmets, like the eyes don't quite match up with.
Yeah.
You're like, well, that's terrible. Who thought of that? All right, and then here we go.
Now, is this going all the way down to the bottom? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to cover up quite a bit of the face. We'll get lost in the darkness, but it's just there to help guide us.
Okay, got it. Got it.
I think this might be pronounced Reese M. I couldn't only listen before. Happy Valentine's Day, ladies. Hey, guys.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I know. I got a Valentine from a friend of mine, and it said, to Tabitha, thanks for not being one of those weird Christians. You're welcome. Because it depends on who you talk to. Okay, so you can see here my lines are not perfect. A lot of times it has to do with switching sides. Like, I was really happy with the left side, I think because I'm left-handed. It just, the angle worked out. The right side could use Jesus, honestly, but that's okay. We're gonna fix all of that later on. I'm not mad at it because it, again, just gives us a good idea. So there we go. We've got our face.
Okay.
And kind of comes down to the fun part. The face can be tricky because of the angles, but given the fact that we have some lines that help us. So if you would look at our original picture, the light, we're playing around with some stuff, but essentially the light is coming from behind him. So a lot of what's going to be right here will get lost to the darkness. So you can see we don't quite see the chin as much and everything like that. That's totally fine. So when you lose a little bit of detail, it's okay. Just remember that the outer portion of our lines is where it would be then the brightest. That will help us know with the angles and stuff so it doesn't look so flat. We're just going to keep these bright. They're still going to have touches of black to it, but they're going to be brighter than they would be here. So I think before we touch the face, we're going to go back into the clothes because, again, this being the most important part, let's just play around with the clothing to get a feel for it. So I'm just going to go ahead and get like a whole bunch of, and I guess we could stick with this brush. Might be a little easier to control. I'm just going to get a whole bunch of red on here. Scoop it up.
All right.
And I'm just going to start next to the face here. And here I do want to be intentional with the brush stroke pattern that I have. There's a bunch of chaos going in my bat here, but in this, I want to just bring it in like so. What we are doing is creating this illusion of a curve of the clothing going down. Right. So that will all make sense too when we start getting the the black going on in there. But this way we can also see how it changes from, like, if you notice here, you'll see that this is a little bit darker, if you will. I say darker, layered. Oh,
Okay. I messed up.
she's okay. Wow.
I went outside the line.
And this will be very easy to change and switch up now, because our background are the same colors as our foreground, right? It's the same thing, so it'll be easy to clean up. We're gonna be doing a lot of back and forth with some of our colors here because acrylic paint does dry pretty quickly. So have the water at the ready. Jared Leto, excuse me, was the Joker from Gucci, and Heath Ledger was the Joker from Goodwill. Gucci, overly priced, meant to look all right. Goodwill, sometimes there isn't price, meant to look like whatever you find.
That's so good.
The Goodwill Joker. I wasn't sure where that was going. Like, I thought it was going to be a smack. Oh. Okay, so bringing it down here. And I am going to kind of just, whatever paint is left over, let it touch the bat over here. I'm not going to have it too thick. Just so you can kind of see that. Holocron Library Fox says, Tabitha, loved your video where you were waiting on Nomi for half of it and used the time to rub in how rude lateness is. Very German of you. As a German, I commend you. A lot of it was teasing, though. She was 2 hours late, but hey, that's what coffee and donuts are for. Donut was like this big at Disney Springs, and I'm like, there's no better time than right now to eat a giant donut. So I just sat there and I drew, and it was a beautiful day, and I thought, this ain't half bad.
So I don't know if it's the canvas that I have, but
okay,
you can't see the brush strokes on.
Well,
yeah.
Maybe, well, it might also depend on the type of paint that you have. Even if it's listed as acrylic paint, everybody's got their own formula, and sometimes it's thicker than others.
Okay, yeah, this one's pretty thick.
Okay, so don't feel afraid. I don't know what I'm saying. Let me retract and go back. You don't have to put quite as much on there. I know I did say load up the paintbrush, but that's like just kind of spread it out. So it doesn't have to be all in one spot. Maybe try that as well. And hello, it's the Force of Light Entertainment scene. Hey, girls. Hey to you. I need to get them on the channel. Ladies, be thinking, what would you like to paint? I am gonna also just quickly, I'm gonna be having another YouTuber come on my channel on Sunday afternoon, and we're switching things up because on that day, I believe we're meeting at 4. I'll get the details here, but on that day we're reversing it. She is going to teach me how to watercolor because I really don't know how to do that. So,
oh, that's exciting.
So if you're new to the channel, subscribe, click the notification bell so you get notified of when the show will start. It's going to be super fun. Here we go. So I'm just going to continue on. Now I'm going to switch over, though, the direction of the brush strokes here because we want to separate the collar, if you will, the cape, the hood, from the shoulders. So I'm just going to kind of go here and come down. And you'll notice that everything is still differentiated by the strokes. So here we have it coming diagonally this way. This one is kind of coming diagonally down this way, although it's not perfect. But and then the chaos of the bat. So it's all just different in and of itself because of the way we've dragged the brush across. And this way it kind of helps us to know where to start, where to change things, all that goodness.
Okay.
M Dragon Frost has like a little Groot creature thing. Hi. I don't know what it is. There's another one. Maybe it's a voodoo doll. I don't know. But now, so we're gonna dive into the darkness. Yes, we are.
Yay.
Yay. So we want to get a feel for what it's going to be like on the one side. A lot of times it's like, you want to paint the whole thing, but I think because acrylic paint does dry pretty quickly, we're going to just go ahead and reapply some red. Now, black can overcome things very quickly. So I'm just going to get a touch of red. You'll notice here there's more red than there is black.
Okay.
Red Hood spilled his Kool-Aid all over himself. He did. Or is it Kool-Aid?
Black.
That's Onion Knight from Dark Souls. I don't know who that is. Let's see. Reese M says, I try to catch Tabitha's nighttime painting when I can, but couldn't miss Steph's appearance, even for work. Hardworking, tiny lady there.
Thank you. All right, I got a little bit of black.
Okay, so we are going to go up to the face here.
Just a touch. All right.
And just basically follow the pattern that we already created. We already have kind of a blueprint for what we're trying to accomplish. So I'm just going to come here and really just spread it out. And we'll notice that the red will start mingling with the black and dilute it a little bit so it's not quite so harsh. Now, again, it doesn't need to be too perfect, because we're going to mess all kinds of this up. But it's going to really start adding some dimension to our painting. It's really going to start making his head look like it's shrouded in this giant collar. And then if I'm going to bring out my reference again, remembering that the light is coming from behind. So eventually we are going to take some white and add a little bit of a highlight here. But just remember that there's going to be more. We want it to be brighter on the edges of this hood, I guess, this collar. So the black will be mostly associated with the inner portion and just kind of will slowly transition into the red over here. So this gives us good. Now, it is up to you how much of the darkness that you want to have, but going slowly and surely. And the fact that we're only using 3 paints will definitely help keep this a little easier to control, because also with it being acrylic paint and it dries fairly quickly, we can always recover fairly well. And then we've always got our stencils, so if we have to scrap it and start over, well, we don't want to do that, but we could always. There we go. Can always add more darkness. It'll really come together when we add the little bits of white, for sure. But I'm just going to play around with this area a little bit. Just kind of get it to blend. Again, doesn't need to necessarily be perfect. If you have too much black on your brush, just wipe it off on a different section and then just get some red to kind of combat it. There we go. Already makes it a little bit more interesting this way, of course. But yes, if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. I do all kinds of artwork, and I'm doing some changes around the channel, adjusting as needed because YouTube's weird. And I'm going to be having more people coming on the channel to teach me how to create things.
That's actually a really cool idea.
Yeah. I want to expand. I want to grow. And then I'm going to also be having more YouTubers coming on the channel to teach them how to paint as well. So here we go. And then as we go down, so this is this little bright section. I'm just going to take some red and really just define right there. Okay. So then we're going to do the same thing. It's going to start getting darker as we come down. So I've got my red already here. And then I made a mistake and just went straight on black instead of red. So I'm going to get some more red and do the same over here where we change. Now I've got too much black, so I'm just going to pat it out and get more red and dilute this. But just following the strokes that we've already done. Here we go. Yeah, I think it'll be a nice little change of pace watching an artist learn how to.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I have always been a little leery of watercolor. I've tried it. I've dabbled in it, but it's very different from acrylic paint because the layering process is very strange and bizarre to me. So I believe we are learning how to paint koi fish on Sunday. So that will be exciting. Okay. And we'll see how badly I do. I shouldn't speak like that because I'm saying the exact same things that I tell like a lot of my students. Like, don't say that. But you can't help it. There's something about artwork and negativity that is a difficult hurdle to overcome. Oh my goodness.
I'm sure it'll come out really good.
I hope so. I hope so.
It should be a fun time, right? It's
Definitely.
fun.
Exactly. It's all about fun and learning something. And of course, the thing is, like, you can't expect to be really good at something when you first try it. So, although there are some of those annoying people, usually they're guys, that
Oh,
are
they get it on the first try.
they get it on the first try. But I can't explain that. I understand that I hate them, but it's kind of like those people who don't study for a test and get an
I
A.
always hated those people in school.
And then I could be a person who
Man.
studies all week and hopes to get a B, right?
Yeah. The
Yeah,
ones that they could just like retain the information.
yeah. I hate
Oh, that bugged the heck out of me because I was always like, I would read something and I would read it again and again
Yep.
and again in order to retain it.
Yeah.
And all they had to do was hear it once, and that was it. That's all they
and
needed.
they're like, "Oh, it's so simple. All you do
Yeah.
is this." What is this? What is that?
Like, oh,
I,
thanks.
I remember like learning integers in math. I have never once in my life met a person on the street or a friend or a work colleague and ever had a conversation about integers. And I understand that math is important. We need it. It's an essential part of life. But I mean, when was the last time you heard somebody mention or integers
In school when we were learning.
in school and nobody
school.
talks about it? I understand that you do need to learn things. In a way, you need to learn things that probably will not benefit you necessarily later on because they have to be able to teach you things in order to pique your curiosity. I totally get that. But like, come on, did I really need to spend like an entire semester learning the ins and outs of integers?
Yeah, everyone was becoming. They wanted everyone to be an engineer and a mathematician. Okay.
I think that's what it was.
Required
That's like the
learning.
secret agenda of school is hoping that everybody becomes doctors, scientists, and engineers.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, no, we'll just pass them along.
Well, the sad part is that nowadays kids can't even read. So I would rather go back to the.
I'd
days
rather
of,
be able to
you know,
read for
that's
sure. Integers with negative numbers, I assume. I don't want to talk about that here. Yet for some reason we don't learn the basic of our economy. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, like people talk about like balancing a checkbook. If people do that anymore.
yeah.
All that kind of stuff. I see that on Instagram all the time. They're like, don't come at me about not learning taxes in high school because the nucleus is the center of like these things that nobody talks about. Artists usually use a fair bit of their time walking in their own darkness, joking about it takes the edge off. Of course. So when you've got this side taken care of, and I know it still looks a little wonky, but when you've got kind of an understanding of this, I would recommend doing the under portion of the bat here too. And I just kind of do that in black because that will be the darkest portion of the painting. We're going to transfer and do the same thing on the other side. I will be rinsing my brush just so that the red has time to lay the groundwork and stake out its necessary area. All right. Let me rinse this out. Mine does now. My water does look like red Kool-Aid, which in a way is just bringing up like a thirsty nostalgia. But now that I've added black to it, it's not so much. It's like rotten fruit. I don't know about you guys, but growing up, my mom hated Kool-Aid, but it was cheap, right? And it was fun. She never put sugar in it. Like we had no idea we were drinking it wrong for years. And then you go to that one kid's birthday party and they actually put sugar in the Kool-Aid and you're just like, what is this stuff?
How can yours taste delicious?
And we're like all buzzed, really, really hyper. Like, this is the best. Tommy's mom makes the best Kool-Aid.
Oh no!
I didn't know. My
That's
mom
like drinking tea with no sugar.
Oh my goodness! I know my mom also. She hated
unsweet tea.
Oh gosh! I mean, I don't like sickly Southern sweet tea either, to be honest. But I do like a little sugar in my tea. Otherwise, it's too bitter.
I like it to be semi-sweet tea. Like that's good. That's delicious, but not like unsweet.
Yeah. It's just I don't.
Completely unsweet. to
It's
me.
like I'd rather just drink water.
Yeah.
You know, which I mean I love water, but I'm just saying I don't understand the perks of drinking iced tea. I guess the flavor, but still, again, it's bitter. um. Yeah, my mom also, she really didn't like us drinking the red Kool-Aid. She hated so much. Like it's one of the things that just gets on her nerves. Like scuffing the feet, chewing with your mouth open. She could not stand children that had the red ring around their lips from drinking Kool-Aid. She just
Oh my god.
she could not handle it. It just tore her up inside to see kids that would show up at church got these red.
With the red wing of Kool-Aid.
Oh my gosh, she hated it so much. So funny. I remember she just didn't like any of that colored food stuff either because I remember one time sneaking in a lollipop and they were paintbrush lollipops. I did not realize how powerful the dye was. Okay, so I had a blue one and I knew that I wasn't allowed to eat candy in church, right? But we had gotten it during the kids' hour and stuff like that. So I snuck it in my pocket and I happened to be sitting with my friends, which was a luxury too. And so every now and then, I would wish there would have been like a video camera. I would love to go back and just watch myself as a child to see how clever I thought I was. Because, I'm in church and you bring it out, you just kind of like lick just a little bit of it and put it back. And, you do that like 15 times during a service. It's like, how weird is that? What does that look like to other people? You think you're being so clever.
I used to try and sneak in so much stuff to church too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
as a
Well,
kid.
so this was blue paintbrush candy dye. I mean, it was like dark blue. I didn't realize that while I was doing that, it was staining my lips, my teeth, and my tongue, like my teeth too. And I remember meeting up with my mom after church. I had no idea. And all of a sudden I could see it, the face that every mom has. And it's like, how did she know?
Yeah.
And she's like, what have you been eating? And of course, I was like, nothing.
What are you talking about?
And she's like, your lips and teeth. She's like, your teeth are blue. Oh, crap. And then I was a preteen at that time. So that's even more horrendous because you don't realize like you've been in front of all your peers looking like a smurf in the mouth. And oh my gosh. And how many other people kids being kids. Oh my gosh. Good times. So
right.
How's it coming along?
I got it. I done.
You're done. Okay. All right. And then we're just going to pursue with the black the same way.
Okay.
I'm going to make sure I load up on the red and then just a smidge of the black and time and carry on. Underneath the chin will be virtual darkness here.
Okay.
Everything kind of gets, like I said, a lot darker here towards the center. We're taking some liberties with the red of the bat. Now, something else, and we're not going to figure that out till we get there, but I decided, again, creative liberty, do what you want to do and feel it through. But I actually decided to add almost like an abstract cityscape on the bat here. In the original one, it just basically got darker as it got towards the bottom of the symbol. But I thought it would be so cool because, it's always about the city and protecting and saving the city. So I just took some of the brush strokes and created what could be perceived as a cityscape in the that symbol. I thought looked pretty cool. But again, you don't have to do that. Yeah. Like to throw out the options. Oh,
I feel like that's too complicated for me.
Well, I can always show you how to do it. It's not really that complicated. I got a couple of tricks up my sleeve. But here we go. So all of a sudden I'm remembering like we're doing red hood. Why a red hood? And it's not really a hood, it's a mask. Has it always been a mask or did it just transition into that?
He's had different red hoods, like different helmets.
Okay.
But it's sort of symbolism. So Jason Todd was killed by the Joker.
Okay.
He was the first Robin that Batman lost. So he was killed by the Joker, and the Joker had a if you know, like one story of the Joker was that he had a red hood on the
Oh,
Joker. Like,
I
yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's sort of like the symbolism behind the red hood. But
Okay.
yeah, that's why he wears it. And he was resurrected by Ra's al Ghul.
Okay.
So yeah, when he got resurrected, he like went a bit crazy, but then sort of like remembered who he
Who
was,
he was. He
and he got
watched The Lion
mad.
King and it touched his soul.
Yeah, he got mad at Batman for not killing the Joker for
Right.
yeah,
Avenging him essentially.
avenging him. Yeah. So,
Okay.
that's actually it's one of my favorite stories. Um,
Well, and that's the interesting part too about Batman is like the fact that again we already discussed that he doesn't have any superpowers, and then this motto, if you will, of no killing, don't become like them. And like you're saying, like the struggles that the characters face and things like that, like that's really difficult. Like that, it doesn't break you. Now, I don't know if eventually that ever changed in the stories, if Batman ever say or succumbed to instinct, but I mean, gosh, you know,
mhm.
these superheroes go through a lot. They deserve they deserve better. than- okay. So yeah, like I said,
Yeah.
we've got things going on here, looking pretty good so far.
I got paint on my face. I don't know how that happened.
You are really into it. You're obviously more into it than I am because I have yet to acquire. As far as I know, I do have a smudge on
On
my
your
hand, but I mean that's pretty normal.
I got it on my hand. That's how.
I don't. What does it say? Oh, tiny bit. I remember one time, like, obviously I shower. Okay. If anybody had any questions about that, I do bathe regularly. But it's not uncommon for artists to find paint in random places. But like this had been days. I've been coloring, using colored blue for whatever. And, you know, of course I get paint everywhere because I'm really into it. I don't care. It's fine. But I take a shower, I scrub. Okay. I'm scrubbing the whole body. And then it's several, like, it was like what a day later, whatever it was, the next day was church or 2 days. I don't anyway. I went to church and I'm like talking to my friend and he's like, "What's that on your elbow?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" And I look and this huge streak of blue leftover paint on my elbow. How? How did I miss that? Like, how did I not see that? How did that not get on everything else? I don't. Jesus, no, I don't know. Craziness. All right, let me get this a little darker in here so that the red stands out.
Ooh, darker. Okay.
Well, I am so choosing. Now I do notice that, you know, again, the shoulders are a little strange over here. We can always clean that up and change it as well. I think part of it is because my chair is a nice chair, but it's a little bit lower than what I need it to be. So my perspective on this is a little off, as it usually is whenever I have host these painting streams. Power 900 says Jason was the Senkoff? Robin Bruce had trained, but
The second Robin.
oh, okay. I was like turning it into. I usually can read through people's stuff and translate what they were trying to say. This one was an utter fail for Tim. But Jason was the second Robin.
Yeah.
Bruce had trained, but fell to the clown prince of crime and was and tortured.
Killed by
to death.
Yeah, he was tortured with a crowbar, killed. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I tell you what, it's amazing to me how dark comic books can be. You know, and the fact that originally I guess they were meant for children, and then it's like they're not. not really. I guess it depends on the parent and the type of child, of course. But it's like my go. I'm just kind of because I'm just kind of going over it and touching up some details here and there, because I want it to look like the hood is, or excuse me, the cape, whatever it is that we're doing, is kind of rounded and going into the darkness here. So I'm just softening some edges.
Need more red.
And hopefully you're also getting a taste of how to use some of the lights and the darks for the benefit, and also kind of getting the feel for how this works with the whole kind of grunge effect, where it's not necessarily perfect, but we understand the assignment, we understand the mission. And even with a type of style like this, it's amazing how much attention to detail it requires. How much, because again, working with just these two colors at the moment, it can be pretty difficult because red is the strongest dye, but black, being a non-color, if you will, overpowers everything as well. So it's a little battle of the forces, the little battle of the wills here. Okay. Let me get this down here. So have you always been into comic books and things like that? Or did somebody introduce it to you and you're like, I could really get into this. I like this.
Well, I don't know if I would say I was introduced to it, but
I mean, I
I've
guess technically we're all introduced to it. I guess what I mean is, like, did you kind of just watch it as a kid and grow into it, or was it later
I
on and
watched
someone's
it
like,
as a
hey,
kid, after school. Like it was
after school?
like Batman. It was just one of the things that I watched. I have two brothers, so I loved everything that they watched,
Mm-hmm.
and like that's how I started watching everything. It's my brother's influences, but
Yeah, that's
um,
the same for me. I wouldn't have loved Star Wars had it not been for my brother's interests.
yeah. Well, I think that like my brothers were really into it, and I got just really into the animated series. But like for Star Wars, my uncle was the one that introduced me to Star Wars because he's a huge Star Wars fan. And then like over the summer, we would always like stay at my grandma's house while my nana's house while our parents were at school or at school, we're at work. And my uncle would always bring over a bunch of movies for us to like to entertain us and watch, like when my grandma wanted us to like sit still, you know.
Of course, TV's
and he had like a ton of just superhero movies. He had a ton of, you know, just a ton of movies like that. And that's, you know, we all would like just sit down and watch Batman 89, Batman Returns. We would sit down and watch the OT. So yeah, it was just something that was just around me, I guess, growing up. So
of course, and we do tend to kind of fall in love with the things that we're, I guess, influenced by, usually by other people. Yeah, parents, like you said, brothers and stuff like that. I definitely learned most of what I do know because of my brother. I have noticed that I think that the bat symbol that I have is a little too big. So I'm going to, this is where I was saying like it's really easy to kind of change things, clean things up. And so I'm just going to kind of follow the pattern that I have and just make it a little smaller. You don't have to do that, but this also will give me a chance to play around with the darkness around it as well. And if I wanted to, again, kind of keep it in the grunge and everything like that, if I just kind of wear out what I like to call wear out the paint, like just use up what I have, it'll give a little bit more of this softer, distressed look. So if I do like this on the edges over here, we can see it's not quite as harsh. And there's something about it that takes it from being just this big ball of color in the chest to somehow a little bit more matching to the rest of what we've done. But yeah, I know I'm looking at this over here and I'm like, man, this is a little bit bigger than what I had, which is totally fine. I'm going to shrink it just a little bit. And I kind of like what it's doing for my character. But just kind of, like I said, play around with what you have at the moment. See what you like. every time I'm going to do an image like this, it's always going to look a little differently from the original. That's okay. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of distress the inner portion here. So I'm going to basically use up what I have left in my paintbrush and kind of
Try not to make it
smear. Yeah, now this is again totally optional. You can leave it very bold and everything like that. But I do know that as it comes down to the chest, it needs to be a little darker. So I'm going to get some red that's already got some black in it and kind of darken up this because it shouldn't be as red as it is at the moment. But that's why I wanted to work in the clothing so that we can have an idea of how all this works before we go into the head. So we can kind of learn, okay, this is how much damage, if you will, the black does to this portion and all of that. And then also what, the distressing kind of looks like. Just play around with it. I'm trying to mute the symbol just a little bit myself so that when it comes time to doing the face, that is the main portion that we're really drawn to. You kind of want, because of the fact that I added a city in my original one, you kind of want a painting to kind of, what they say, dance around, right? I have to totally fix my bat head there. That looks really bad. What is it? Like, it looks like a bat, but it looks like a cute bat, like a real bat. This does not look like a superhero symbol to me.
That was good.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, if she says it's okay, then it's okay. I'm a little distraught. I'm a little distraught by my bat head. I think because this wing is too high. Maybe that's what it is. But also, again, if people can tell what it is that you've painted, and that's the main objective.
I'm trying to get like strokes over the black, but they're not. It's not happening.
What do you mean strokes over the black?
Like on yours, you have like strokes of red in there, and I think I painted it too dark, so I can't like put it.
You mean like this here where you can see the red over top of the black?
Yeah.
Okay, so just let your paint dry just a little bit.
Okay.
And then you can go over it. So I did the same thing over here. This had gotten too dark. And so I let it dry just a little bit. And then I just took a little bit thicker amount of the red, although your paint seems to be a little bit thicker than mine anyway. And I just kind of swashed it over top of it. Because like, for example, this is all, I'll just go, I'll take a damage for the show, right? So let me clean this off. So if this is all black in here, it's not totally dry, but it's almost there. But if I take my red and go like this, you can see it because of the fact that, again, you can layer your paint. Now I must clean that off. But then you can see here, it's pretty easy to kind of clean up. Although I'm going to clean it. And those are the huge perks of working with acrylic paint. You can sort of do it with oil paint as well, but it takes a little bit more navigating, I believe. There we go. So yeah, just kind of play around with it. I like that the symbol is a little darker, a little bit more distressed myself. I feel like that adds a little bit to the story, right? So I don't know. That's the thing too. I don't really know much about this character, but that's where the art comes into play. It's like, okay, so the original picture of this, he, is surrounded by darkness. He himself is dark. There's a very serious face going on. And then, of course, in this particular style, it's very it's grungy and a little bit sinister. So I was under the impression that he was kind of like, yeah, maybe an anti-hero, or maybe he was kind of vindictive, maybe a less Boy Scout approach to being a superhero. So that was the vibe that I got from this character. Am I off on that?
No, you're pretty good.
See, and so that's a huge part of when it comes to creating things, when it comes to color choices, the stroke pattern, and the style. So I like that. So that's why I'm kind of playing around with this bat symbol myself personally to see if I can make it a little darker. And when I say darker, I really mean, well, I mean, I'm making it darker, but I mean the theme of it per se is a little bit more on the dark side of the force. So
the dark side.
Okay, there we go. Because again, when it's all said and done, we want it to be like everything here, and that's going to really help when we paint the eyes white, because they're the contrast to everything that we've been going on. So your eyes are just naturally going to go either from here down or from down up. So there we go. Just kind of finish it up there. It's pretty good. I like that I brought it down a little higher. It was, I can see in my original one, it was a little lower too. So it's like, okay, go with that. All right. So how we feeling?
Okay. I'm just trying to get the bat a little messy.
Yeah. Take your time with that. That's really important because obviously it's the sigil telling us what he supports, what he's fighting for, who he is. Excuse me. Hey, love it ever after. Just gonna lurk. The kiddos are fussy today. Looking forward to the results. Absolutely. Nick Brown says same, just lurking and enjoying the show. And I'm glad that you're here. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. Support.
Okay.
Support.
I'm waiting for like this side to dry.
Ooh,
that side, because I want more red there.
that looks good. You know, in a way, I don't know what this character's all outfits look like, but in a way, he almost looks like he's wearing a hoodie. The way that you've got the shadows going on here, it's real, especially on the side over here. Look, that's really good. It looks like the folds of fabric, which is fantastic. Fabric can be really difficult to work with, and it's really, really cool. Now it's really nice and dark and grungy. And so Elsa Barrett says also lurking. Spot on. Jason has mixed feelings about Bruce's moral code, and he utilizes guns as a few of his signature weapons. Okay. All right. Look at me. Look
I
at
know.
my observation.
Knowing nothing about the character, just looking at the photo, you got it. Yeah.
I really did. I didn't do any research. I'm just like, okay, all right, something bad has happened.
Well, he also has like Jason Todd. He's an orphan, so he also has like he has survival instincts, which is why
always
he
orphans?
sort of which is why he clashes with Bruce's moral code, because Jason would do anything to survive, But
okay,
yeah.
Well, that makes a lot more sense too. But why do you think that is? Is it just I don't want to say it's an easy story to tell, but why do you think it is that a lot of superheroes are orphans?
I don't know.
What is that foundation for a superhero?
Maybe they don't want whatever they went through in order to become an orphan to happen to anybody else. I think like being an orphan like triggers something into the person, so that
something to fight for.
It's something. Yeah, it's like that. They just become a fighter. I don't know.
Okay, because I mean, like you just the creators, like when they create these characters, it's like why
orphan them?
Why? I mean, are in the day and age that we're living in, where we nitpick about every stupid little facet of any kind of story? It's like, are you trying to tell children from healthy homes that they can't become superheroes because they're not orphans? Tim Drake wasn't an orphan, at least not until after he became the third Robin. So you're telling me he did eventually become an orphan? Okay. From a narrative standpoint, you can't blame him. Bruce's moral code to not kill the Joker led to his death. For him, it's personal.
Yeah.
Which builds the story arc, the struggle, like Steph was talking about earlier with Batman. It's like, the struggles that you're facing is what creates the dynamic story. Because if everything's easy, if it always makes sense, like again, like the orphan thing, why do they got to be an orphan? It just kind of leads up the questions. If you're not questioning in my opinion, if you're not having any questions to a story that hopefully will eventually get answered, but if you're never having questions to a story, then there's really no interest. There's no reason to keep reading. It's just going to be like, oh, it's all going to be, oh, well, they're going to save the day, and we know that he's going to get the girl, and we know they're going to live happily ever after. But if you don't have any questions of like, well, why is he an orphan, and why did he decide to have a bat if everything's already answered and easy, it's just no fun. I mean, that's just me. Gives the hero motivation to be a hero, and also helps connect the reader to them, right? If you don't have a connection to your reader, then you don't have a reader. So, all right.
I got it. We can move on. I got it. I got the strokes in.
I believe it. I
got the strokes in on that side.
Oh, it looks so good. Kind of makes me hungry for pizza too. Just looking at it kind of reminds me of pepperoni.
So still white. Okay.
Sorry. So yeah, I mean you can always also, as things kind of dry a little bit, you can always take a little bit of water on your brush, just a tiny bit, and just kind of go back over like this, and it'll give it a wash effect to it. Now it might strip away some of the paint.
Dude, I love the way that looks. Oh my gosh, that's what I needed.
oh,
That's what it
okay.
needed.
That's what I'm here for. Good. That's the response that I want. That's the excitement I want. Yeah, sometimes a wash, it will strip away some paint, but it might if you will, thin it out. It works wonders if you're
Yeah, no, so for whatever reason it was, I still had like white from the canvas
yeah.
in there, and it would not spread out. Yeah, that's what that needed.
Yeah, just a little sometimes it's hard, depending on the canvases too. Like it's hard to get the paint into the crevices. And so sometimes a wash will help with that just because it thins it out and it will pool in there, but also because then it's not quite as thick as paint. So it adds a little bit. Because you can see up here in the corner of my bat symbol, it's probably the palest portion of the entire symbol, but I don't mind that because it kind of adds some differences to everything. Hey, Brett.
Needed it.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy
Okay,
Wednesday.
so we're gonna go ahead. I kind of want to save the face for last, but I think what we're gonna do is no. I'm gonna stick to my guns. Here we go. We're gonna go around the edges here and save the face for last because it's the most important. I want us to get a really good grip on everything that we're doing. And it's basically the same thing. Now you can do your background however you want to. You can see here that I do have a little bit of a glow around him, right? So I did put a little bit of white in here. So I'm going to start off with red. Basically just kind of haphazardly painting around the edges here, cleaning up some of the edges just a wee bit with the red. And then we're going to add the black, and then we will kind of integrate some of the white. Now we have to be careful with the white because if we know anything about colors, if you start adding white to red, we get
Pink.
Didn't know there's going to be a pop quiz, did you? So which in some places, if it's not too pink, is not bad. Just kind of adds little differences here. I don't know if we can see some of that in here just a little bit. It's probably can't really tell. Just a tiny bit of pink in there, but we don't want to girlify this. So here we go. I'm just going to go around the edges, like I said, kind of haphazardly. Because we already know where our character is, we can see the clear differences between, the hood, the cape, the cap, whatever it is. And I'm just going to go around it. And this will, like I said, give us an opportunity to kind of clean up some of the shoulders, chisel out some of the body. If like one shoulder, like mine, for example, I feel like one shoulder is a little higher than the other. I do kind of feel like he is a little broad. I noticed in my original one that I have a little bit more definition or distinguishable shapes, I should say, to the shoulder portion. So mine in the one that I'm working at right now is too rounded. So I'm going to kind of chisel off an edge there when I do get to the black. And just kind of filling up. And I think that I am going to work from one side to the other as far as finish the one side, kind of like what we did with the clothing, so we can kind of see how this all works. And because we can always rinse our brush out later on. And I do like that the background might be a little more haphazard, kind of like our bat, because it's, again, helps to separate the main portion of the painting from the background. So in our body here, we have a lot more distinction and understanding of where we dragged our brush. We went in diagonal lines. There's a lot of more of a practical application, whereas the bat is just kind of like, whatever. So in the background, I like that as well. These are things that a lot of people don't pay attention to when they're creating artwork. And sometimes people don't even realize why they're doing it. It might seem strange. It might be like, oh, you just do whatever in the background. But there is a reason to the madness. It just takes some time and experience to understand why you're doing what you're doing. So again, it might seem like it's just throwing on colors for a background. And sort of, yeah. But the reason that we're doing it is to separate. It's almost like when you take a photo, and I know like on iPhones, when you get to the portrait mode and you can edit, you can change the f-stops, and those are just fancy terms for how blurry is the background going to be as compared to the main subject. So it's kind of what we're doing here, adding a little depth of field. Rolling Chairs would like to know what Steph's looks like so far.
Looks like that.
Here it comes. Man, I am so impressed with that one side for sure. Like it all looks good. I'm so impressed with how you made it look with the folds on, I guess, the left side.
I don't know what I did.
I know, right? Whenever I do clothing, I'm like, I really didn't know what to make it look good. Like there's always one spot that looks the best. Okay, so I've got this all with my red here. And then I'm going to take a wee bit. Again, I'm going to load up with the red, but I'm going to take a wee bit of the black. And this time I'm going to come from the corners and sweep this way, just to kind of create a little bit of a vignetting. Kind of like that. I might have too much, so then I will kind of blend it a little bit with the red. This is, again, personal. It's up to you. And there's a freaking gnat flying in front of my face that's been here for 3 days.
Right now. They're everywhere right now. Every single day there's like a new one. And
I killed its brother the other day.
Yeah, they're everywhere right now.
And this one is a survivor, and I cannot get it, and I hate it. I hate it so bad.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice. Megatron says Steph needs to start doing paint streams after this.
I'm not. No way.
She's like, I like your vote of confidence,
Yeah.
but
so nice, but the only reason I can do this is because I'm being guided.
I hear you on that. I do.
I'm being guided. This is the channel you want for that.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah. I don't really do a lot of teaching and painting, right? It's more like drawing, like chibis and things like that, which is still, sometimes I sit down and I think to myself, this is so bizarre because I really have never been into chibis.
Mm-hmm.
And I just didn't see that this was something that I would be doing, right? I saw myself as a fine portrait painter, which I can sort of kind of do. And I don't know. I just thought I would do like more like movie posters, but in painting form. Like that was the goal. That was what I'm going to do. And I still can do that. And I really want to, but somehow I've just found myself in this world of creating the chibis and I really enjoy it. I just find it so bizarre.
I saw Gina Carano. Didn't she share your Gina Carano chibis drawing?
She did.
Yeah.
She did. Such a sweetheart. That was not necessary and totally surprising. She signed, you guys can see I've got my big chibi back here. A friend actually took this 2 years ago when she did her first cons and bought one of my art pieces on my Etsy shop and actually had it signed by Gina and then mailed it to me. And so that was really cool, really special. I mean, there was a dream to have the muse, you know, the subject of my art actually see it and then sign it. So it's like, all right, check. Got that taken care of. I can die now. No, I have too much to do with my life. Hey, memes of destruction, the superhero in word form. He says, what's going on? We are painting Red Hood. Do you know anything about him? Because I have learned quite a bit, memes. Would Steph ever consider going on Michelle and Natalie's live streams after streaming with Tom Connors? Who is that?
Oh yeah, I stream I do Toxic Femininity on Mondays. I would love that. That would be awesome. I haven't really talked to the Force of Light Entertainment. I haven't really hung out with them, so that would be fun. I'm trying to go on like more
branch out or reach out.
Yeah, so yeah, that would be fun.
I know. I kind of miss doing like podcasts with people and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
When I first jumped on to all of this, was doing that pretty regularly, and then just things, you know, life changes, things turn, and but I kind of miss it. It's kind of nice just to sit with people and chit chat about whatever you want, and then you know get yelled at for your opinions about things, and then just disprove them and tell them why they're wrong. Why Attack of the Clones will never be better. I
know. Jay, come on. Jay, what are you doing?
Rolling chairs, that's really awesome. I'm meeting Gina and Jay in December at the December Con. Gonna be my first con ever.
Oh.
Yeah, MegaCon was my first big convention. And I have a video about that coming out soon. And also it's going to be kind of like a helpful hints for introverts who really want to go and hang out at the conventions, but may feel a little overwhelmed and not sure what to do or how to navigate. Because I know that that was something for years that by the way, I like the way this side looks. I think it's pretty cool. I'm about to integrate white and I'm going to show you how. But I don't know. I hope it would be helpful to people that, you know, you want to go out, you want to be where the people are, but the problem is that there's people. And how do you navigate that? Like, it's a real, really, it's a
No,
real,
I get it.
it's a real
Wait,
conundrum.
after MegaCon was over, like I slept for 3 days. Like I was so tired.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it took, seriously, I do think it
I was
took
just
3
like, I was
days
in
to
my little
recover.
hole. I was in my hole, just relaxing and just,
Yes.
taking a few days to just
Thinking about
decompress and-
nothing.
yeah.
No, I know. I got to hang out with Steph at MegaCon and got her some water. I had the honor, the privilege to go get her some water. I'm like, you need anything? She's like, I'm thirsty. You got it.
It was, yeah. Hey, we had lunch together, all right? We went
did.
shopping.
We did.
We did some shopping too.
We looked at stuff and I meant to tell. All right, hang on. Let me get this portion out and then I'll chit chat about the nail polish that doesn't exist.
Oh.
So so I've got my background here. You can see there's almost like this nice little glow right behind him. But I want it to be a little more amplified. But I also want that to kind of translate onto his coat here, which is what we're going to also learn for his head. So I'm leaving like all these colors in my brush, right? And again, we want to be careful with white because we don't want it to turn pink. But so we're really careful here. But I'm going to go ahead and just kind of stroke the white around the outline of his jacket like so. Now it doesn't need to be perfect. I wanted to stress this a little bit so it blends in with the rest of what we've done. This is a little much, but I kind of like. I might soften it a little bit here, a little bit of red. So what's going to happen to keep it from turning too pink is that the black is going to give it a gray, smoky vibe. So that will, if it does have a little bit of pink to it, it will look like an ashy pink, which won't be so girly and detrimental to our painting. So yeah, just kind of carry that out and add just a little bit of highlight. So I did that on the one side, which I really like. And then I'm going to do the same thing around the edge here. I said I was going to kind of chisel out his shoulders because, yeah, he looked a little too much like he had an overcoat on. And I don't want to have too strong of a highlight towards the bottom here. So you can see I just kind of left it as a whisper into the wind. Okay. So, yeah, we're at MegaCon hanging out. And I was there earlier in the morning before everybody kind of, before people that I knew showed up. And I had a chance to actually, this was day 2, and I actually had a chance to like browse, take a deep breath, breathe in the sea of people. And I found this really cute, whimsical vendor that was a little bit more like a fantasy vibe than it was anime. I have noticed that it seems like with these conventions, anime seems to be the big push. The biggest part or the biggest theme of conventions seems to be anime, superheroes and anime. But there was this one lady, just a little fantasy. She had nothing that I think anybody would recognize. It was no franchise. Just her own little world. Probably why I vibed with her. She was all dressed like a little woodland witch kind of gal. Anyway, she had nail polishes that she made herself, and she sells them in these tiny little, I should have brought them with me so that you can see that they exist. And she sold them in sets of 3. And so she would have black, she would have a top coat with either iridescent or holographic vibes to it. And then she would have the main color. What was cool about hers was that it was almost color changing. So you could paint it on your nails as is, or put the black down and then put the color on top and it would change. She had a yellow one that would turn green. And then I had the one that's like a yellowish orange that turns into a bronze color when it's overlaid with or put on top of the black. And so I found out that Steph liked like, was it not homemade? Well, independent
Indie
indie
polish. Yeah.
indie polishes. And I was telling her about this vendor, and she's like, "Oh, let's go, let's find it." We walked. I mean, we're already exhausted because it's the end of the day anyway. We're already walking around as it is. But it's like, let's go shopping. And I'm like, let me go find this vendor. I know that she's close to where the the actors and stuff do their signing. And it's like, I think it's right here. And then we walk up that aisle and it's like, well, maybe it's like one or two over. I know it's in this area. Now we didn't, there were two more aisles that we did not, like two or so aisles that we did not go to. And I'm just going to stand by it. It had to have been right there because I know that like it was one of the first things that I saw. But
Yeah, I
did-
never got the polishes. We walked down like 5
We walked.
aisles,
we
just
walked.
up and down. I found some cool stuff, but I was just
Yeah.
like, I really want that nail polish.
The elusive nail polish that never
Yeah.
was, apparently. I did give her the business card of the woman to prove that it did in fact exist, but it's just like
I saw the polishes for myself, so I know that she was there. I just never
right.
found her.
Pulled out the little satchel. I showed you. They
Yeah.
were real. I wasn't fudging. I didn't buy something that wasn't in existence, but it just like so sorry, Steph.
Like, where
I'm
is
already
she?
tired.
We never found her.
And then there was like a pop socket that you saw you wanted, but it was like there were so many people around this one booth. And so we
Yeah.
walked away. And that's the thing that I've noticed about conventions is there is a lot of the same, which makes sense. So we just went, I think, either to the booth next door on the other side or it was in the next aisle, and they pretty much had the same kind of
Mhm. Yeah, I got this pop socket.
there it is.
I got that.
Oh,
pop
there's
socket.
that
And
sticker of the dog.
the dog sticker. The
Yeah.
long-nosed dog.
You can do it.
Do
for
it, I do it
you.
for you.
So how do your edges turn out? How does it look?
I think I need it to be like a little bit messier, maybe.
Sure.
I'm waiting for it to dry so it can be like
Okay.
more.
I would say you don't even have to wait for it to totally dry. What you could do is again the wash effect, like it just a tiny bit of the water, and that's what I kind of do. It just kind of
Oh,
so that way it's not so thick, so opaque, and it just kind of
Yeah.
helps. Maybe try that.
okay.
Do they have shows or live music at the cons? Now, I am not necessarily the person to ask because I've only been to two. I went to a tiny one once, and then I went to the MegaCon. Blew my mind. It was amazing. It was all there. They did have like people talking about stuff. There was a guy there who was selling lightsabers, but he kind of did a show with them, like all the stuff he could do. And there was a bunch of people, I'm not sure what exactly it was for, conservation or something like that, but they had a bunch of lizards that you could
Oh, yeah.
donate and touch and stuff like that. There was a lot to see. So I'm sure I missed a bunch. But in the conventions that you've been to, Steph, do they do shows?
Those are usually, yes, they do. I've seen them like if they hire anybody, but they're not in the convention center. They're like out in the hall where like you can sit down and just watch someone perform like a small band. It's not very loud, but it's just something very small. A lot of times it's after the convention is over, like at after parties, and they'll have people perform. But I have seen people like or bands there at conventions. Actually, I think the one that I'm thinking of is the Dallas one, but I can't remember. I can't really remember. I've been to so many. But yeah, I've seen them. I have paint in
She's
my hair.
seen them all. She's seen them. She's been to them. She knows. How many conventions would you say? Oh, do you have something in your hair? Oh my
I
goodness.
got paint in my hair.
You do? Okay, I could understand if you had gotten it in the tip. How did you get it in the root?
I got it right. See, because I think what happened was I got it on my hand and I moved my hair from my face. And I think that's how, because I always move my hair out of my face. I have it on my arm.
I am so proud of me right now. As far as I know, I only have it contained to my hands. So
I got it in my hair.
Yeah. I've shared this story before, but we have some new people here. One time, actually, let me show you. I had a jar of white paint, pretty much like this. And I made the big problem of not screwing on the lid when I was done the day before. So when I went back the next day to paint, you're supposed to shake up the paint because sometimes the oils and stuff can separate. And I had it by both hands, and I just gave a good shake the
Oh.
first one. Pretty much the entire tub of paint, or all the paint came out, hit me. I'm not sure exactly the trajectory, but like it's like it kind of like hit me and then bounced off my head or something. I don't know, but it shot across the room, and like this giant, oh my gosh, puddle
Oh no.
of white paint on my carpet.
Oh no.
I panicked, and I was just overwhelmed. I didn't really know what had happened. And then I just started to cry. This was a couple of years ago, and I ran to my mom crying. I didn't know what to tell her. I didn't know what was going to happen because I was just really just in shock. And she's like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, there's just a giant pool. I was afraid she's going to be mad because I ruined her carpet, but it wasn't my fault. Life lesson here is that we need to make sure that the lids are screwed on properly and efficiently. We also need to make sure that if you do spill acrylic paint on your carpet, be sure to have a carpet cleaner handy because it all came out. It just, oh my gosh, the first time we let the thing go over and suck up the paint, it was just nothing but a flood of just white. Just, oh, it was awful.
Oh no.
Awful. But thank God for Mom. She wasn't mad at me. I think she laughed at me later on, but I was like, man, remembering how mad she was that I painted my tongue blue, I was like, I can't imagine how she would have felt when I ruined her carpets. Ah, good times, good times.
Isn't that terrifying? You don't know exactly how they're going to react. So you just start freaking out.
Well, I think
So
that
there was I flooded the whole downstairs of our house one time. Yeah.
do tell.
All right. So, and I was so
Story
scared. I
time!
was crying the entire time. I was home alone. I think my parents had taken like my brothers they had practice in the morning, and I was home alone. It was on the weekend. And for whatever reason, I got up, I went to the kitchen. I didn't use my bathroom. I don't even remember why. I didn't use my bathroom, but I used my I went downstairs. I got up, went to the kitchen. Oh, that's probably why, because I went to the kitchen, and then I went to my parents' bathroom to use the restroom. It's the morning time. It's not like I just did my morning number one, right? It was the morning time.
We're humans, we got
Yeah,
it.
I just went to the restroom, used the restroom. Well, I guess the toilet had already like been backed up. I have no idea what happened.
Oh no.
But I went to the restroom, flushed, washed my hands, went back upstairs, got something to eat, went back upstairs. Didn't come back downstairs until hours later. And it was flooded. The toilet like overflowed to the point where it had flooded the entire downstairs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it had been running. And I was like, what happened? What did I do? Was it like the kitchen sink? What happened? Did I leave something on?
Is
I
the pipe
had
broken?
no idea
Yeah.
what had happened.
Oh my gosh.
I had no clue. And like I was young, right? My first instinct was just to get the water out.
Clean up the mess. Yeah.
Clean up the mess. I was like, okay, maybe I can clean this up before my parents get home. Like I have no
Yes.
idea what happened.
Absolutely. That would have been mine too.
And I opened up like the two back the French doors that lead to like the backyard, and I was mopping it outside in the living room. I had no idea how to clean it, and the mop wasn't working, so I grabbed a broom. I was like, maybe I can like just sweep it outside. And that's when my parents got home, and my mom and dad were like, "What happened?" My mom looked at me and started laughing because I was crying. I had no idea. I had no idea how it got flooded and where the water was coming from. And my dad tells that story because he got home and he looked at me. He started laughing because he's like,
as
"There's
dads do,
Stephanie in the living room trying to sweep water out of the back door, and she's in tears." And I was so worried that they were gonna come home and get mad at me. But my mom was just like, "Don't worry, it's like the insurance will cover it. Stop crying." I had no idea.
Okay. Have you ever noticed? I don't know about you, but have you ever noticed that, like, when something like that, like my paint situation, your water situation, something that's pretty kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah. They
Somehow
had, like
the parents are like,
their reactions are so minimal.
it's okay. But you know what? But if I burn something on the stove, like if I let the potatoes cook too long and they burnt, or or
Yeah.
God forbid, I remember like I had a habit of collecting cups in my room, like I would forget to take them downstairs. And so God forbid that I
I would do
have
that
like
too.
6 cups in my room, and it's just
I
like,
would
but then there's like this outcry. All of a sudden they're getting the pitchforks, they're getting the torches. It's to war. Like, how dare you? But no, you flooded the house. It's okay.
I know, it's
It's
okay. Don't worry
okay.
about it.
It's okay. I
Like,
think
I flooded the house.
I don't know how old you were, but it's
The
like I
whole
wonder if it's
downstairs was
like
flooded.
parents just, as humans do, we tend to get a little more laid back as we get older. And so it's more of like, whatever.
Right? I was terrified.
Aren't you glad that
I was
we're of the
terrified because I was
generation?
like, "How am I gonna explain this? I don't even know what happened."
Well, aren't you glad that we were of the generation before everybody like had cell phones and was videoing everything? Could you imagine though? I would love to see a picture, like a video of you
Oh my
weeping water.
gosh, I know. It's ingrained in my dad's memory, like, he tells everybody that story. Like, yeah,
Um,
came home, she was in tears with a broom in her hand trying to sweep water.
it's a great story. Megatron says, my sister drank out of her paint water once, if it makes you feel better. That's why I was given this wonderful mug
Oh.
for Christmas. Because it happens. That's not the worst thing to happen. I once threw a rock through my parents' rear window at one of my brother's baseball games by accident. I've done that sort of in we're playing baseball in the front yard, and I hit the ball, and the ball connected with the back of the bat. When I came back, I'm not another instance where I don't understand physics, and I basically hit the ball backwards into my neighbor's window. Perfect little hole,
Oh, no.
shattered the window. Nigel M. Hello says, these are some wild stories. Oh, I'm sure you only know the half
Yeah.
half of it. I've got quite a few. It's a good thing my mom's not here.
There was another time, you know how when you have siblings and the youngest cries or one of your siblings cries, whatever, you're like, shh, shh, be quiet, shh, don't let mom hear.
They won't know.
Yeah, shh, be quiet. So that I have a story with that one. So like
Oh
me and my
my.
brothers, we would sit on our bottoms and slide downstairs.
Yeah, of course. Any
Okay.
normal child would, right?
Right. Well, then we had the great idea of taking a box and sitting in the box and sliding downstairs in the box. Right.
Okay.
And so my oldest brother puts my other brother in, and okay, so like, and also it wasn't like we weren't in the box was open, so like we were just kind of sitting on a broken down box, but we thought,
Okay.
yeah, so my brother puts him on this box, and instead of him like pushing himself down, me and my brother pushed him down. And all we saw was him going straight down, and he flipped because he was going down so quick, and I don't know how he hit the stairs.
Oh my
He hit the
gosh.
stairs to where like when he was almost at the bottom, he ended up flipping and he landed on his back,
Oh my gosh.
and he started screaming, crying, and we like ran downstairs. We're like, shh, be quiet, don't
Right.
quiet.
Stop it. You ran
Be
us
quiet.
out.
You're okay. You're totally fine. There's nothing wrong with you. He started wailing. We're like, oh,
Of course. Of course.
yeah.
Oh
God,
my
I put
gosh.
black on this. I wasn't supposed to put black on this. But yeah, he started oh my gosh, we were like, shh, mom's gonna hear. Yeah.
Oh, I have those stories too.
She
My
was-
brother, he's older than me, but he wouldn't really rat me out too many times because then he would have to suffer my wrath later on. I was a pretty aggressive child. I almost blew up the microwave once because I was trying to heat up a pizza that was wrapped in tin foil. Okay, I didn't know that tin cans couldn't go in the microwave, so I was probably about 9 years old, and I thought, it would just be easier to heat up my SpaghettiOs in the microwave and not use a bowl. So I put it in there and I walk away, and suddenly I hear a weird noise, and I turn around and I see sparks flying and
Yeah.
the can in the microwave going.
Mhm. I'm pretty sure we've all done that because I put foil in the microwave too. I'm like, what is going
You know, I think sometimes it's like your parents, which is not, I'm not like blaming them or anything. We're humans, you know, we all learn, but it's like parents will tell you, like, don't put tin foil in the microwave, right? So you just, but they don't take the time to explain,
Yeah.
don't put metal in the microwave. So as a child, you just take it literally. Okay, well, tin foil's not allowed to go in the microwave, but I'll put this tin can in the microwave because they didn't say it couldn't. So yeah. Okay, so what do we think of the outline and a little bit of the highlight with our character here?
It's going. It's
It's go-
going. I'm
it's
working on
going.
the other side now.
Oh, there we. Oh, that's very nice and glowy. Under my favorite side over there. That's really cool. That's metal, bro. Yep, it's metal. Lesson learned: don't put metal in the microwave. It's like, oh, you mean all metal? It doesn't go in the microwave.
Yeah. Whoop.
It's like, well, how convenient would that have been to have tin cans that could go in the microwave so you don't have to dirty up the bowl? Because I went through this phase where it's like, I want to eat like a hobo, like I see in some of the Scrooge McDuck comic books that I would read, right? And the hobos always ate out of tin cans. You know, they're always eating beans out of tin cans.
A hobo. I was like, what's a hobo? Is that a type of food?
You don't know what a hobo is? A homeless body.
Oh my god! And
Did
then
you really-
when you mentioned Scrooge, I was like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, no, a homeless person. The homeless people are always gathered around the fire. They've got a tin can full
Yeah.
of beans. And I don't know why.
You
But
want to cosplay as a hobo?
No, I wanted to live. I wanted to eat. Like, they just made it look so good. I don't know. And so I was like, I'm just going to eat out of tin cans. I don't mind eating my SpaghettiOs out of a tin can. And so that's when I heated up. And then I was like, I don't mind eating them in the can cold because it keeps the microwave from blowing up. Steph's painting Todd the way I would have colored it. Oh,
Yeah.
very
So
nice.
Megatron actually sent me these drawings. You can't see them; they're hung up on the wall. But it's the Bat Family versus the Ninja Turtles.
Oh, cool.
And he sent me the initial one for my birthday, which was Jason Todd versus Raphael, which is awesome.
Yeah, he's an amazing colorist.
Yeah, he is.
I must learn his ways. He was on the channel and one of our art parties not too long ago, and for Christmas time, doing a gingerbread that it was a food taster, and it was like, what was it, Megatron? It was a bored female food tasting gingerbread woman.
Oh, I remember that stream.
Yeah, and that it turned pretty wild. Mine was just eating her hand. She was a cannibal. She was taste testing her.
I remember that stream. I popped in. I remember that stream.
Gosh, our last color or art stream where we did a sexy house elf from Harry Potter who was a potions master and had hair that resembled fire. It was getting on the edge there of some adult supervision. My brother came on and he did a stripper. He did like a stripper house elf because that was apparently the first thing that came to mind when he thought of sexy. And so it was like this house elf in like a tiny little toga, or it was a Speedo or something, and it had abs for days. Totally
Oh my gosh.
shredded. It's so funny. It was hilarious. Yeah. And Dr. Rachel was with us there too, and Danny and Maria, and somehow because we all just envisioned a bad boy as sexy house elf, so ended up having like 80s kind of style where they had like just one or two earrings in one ear. It was a pretty wild party. I can't wait to do the next one. I got to get that going. Your gingerbread lady was a candy cane wine tester. Yeah. My brother's was too. It looked like she was sitting at the bar all by herself, very lonely, had the perkiest bosoms you'd ever see on a gingerbread woman.
Okay.
He's like, I'm not very good at female anatomy. I'm like, well, she got some at least. So whenever you get all that taken care of, Then we're going to finish off our painting by taking all of our knowledge and experience and putting it into the face. So we're going to be painting it red and remembering that we want to have the darkest portions towards the center of the face, right? And, you know, a little bit distraught, but at the same, or I say distressed, a little grungy, but we are going to be intentional with our brushstroke pattern the way that we have been. And then, of course, we will try to get around to the eyes and whatnot. Your gingerbread lady had class. Yes, yours was the cutest and classiest. And if you guys haven't seen the video, I actually did take our gingerbread people and turn them into actual gingerbread cookies over Christmas. And they were mighty tasty too. I was really happy with how they turned, except for Danny's. I didn't do Danny's because, well, she did makeup. So that was hard.
I have to make a phone call. I'll be right back.
Sure, absolutely. No problem. I'll take you down. And while she's doing that, we'll do a shameless self-plug. I don't have the pictures up just yet, but if you go to my Etsy shop, you will find a myriad of brand new chibis and artwork. And I'm now providing stickers for people. I know people in the nerd culture, we love us some stickers, but I've got some wonderful things up there, and I've got some new stuff coming up here in, let me see if I can show you. It'd just be easier, right? It'd just be easier if I could just show you some of the cool things that we've got going on over there, because if you don't know, if you haven't been with Tabitha for a while, I am predominantly a chibi artist. I don't know how that came to be. Like I was saying and telling Steph earlier, it's like somehow it just kind of came to pass, but I'm okay with that. So let me get this up here to showcase to you some of what I've been able to accomplish here. But yeah, I predominantly do chibi. So you can see here, I've got some Lara Croft. I've got some One Piece. I've got lots of Star Wars. I do have my original Cara Dune in the shop as well, but I have since upgraded to the Marshall. This is what the actual poster looks like, and then the stickers will come with her without the background, but head on over there. And then of course, if you maybe you're like a Lara Croft fan or something like that, which I mean, come on, who isn't? I love me some Lara Croft. She's coming up here, but I do have some Harry Potter ones coming and everything. It's going to be great. My Lara Croft Tomb Raider, Lost in the Woods, Lost in the Jungle. Head on over to the shop. Would love to have your support there. And also you can find me on Patreon, where I love hanging out with my supporters over there. And you get access to some behind the scenes stuff, works in project, as well as full-length videos of my reactions and special art pieces that are not seen anywhere else on the internet. And also, if you become a member on our Pencil Fam tier, you can get access to my coloring pages. In fact, something that I've been really proud of lately, if you've been here for our genie streams, I finished them off. I know I kind of did it without you guys. I'm so sorry. I couldn't help it. I really loved the way that they were turning out, and I want to do more with them. But we created some genies together on a live stream. This is the final one that I did, and I had a bunch of your help creating this piece. And this one was like the first one we did, kind of a trial and error, excuse me, one that I did. But I absolutely love how she turned out. And then this one, I decided to go way out and take her eyes away from her. She kind of became this mysterious, kind of like I know genies have magic, but she came kind of like this shaman witch genie, which is totally cool. And I just kind of went with like an Aquaman vibe to it. But I love the little swirly thing, the swirly dust that's underneath of him there. But yeah, I enjoy it. And also, I'm over on Kick. So you can find all of Steph's links down in the description box below, except for Instagram. I didn't have that one down there, but you can also find where you can see me in other places. I've been doing some gaming streams over on Kick, and I'm trying to do my art streams over on Twitch. So you can always follow me there as well. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, all the stuff. All the stuff, people. Let me see here. But oh, yes, I still have the species and stuff like that from my previous art stream. But anyway, yeah. And also, you can stick around and hang out on my channel. And I do some tutorial. tutorials where I teach you how to either make chibis, do the different body positions, which can be kind of tricky for a lot of us. I know that for myself, it's like I've always loved to draw, but the body is really hard. And so I do encourage you, like, even if you're like me and you're not really into chibis, even though that's apparently what I do now, starting off with caricature versions of real people is actually a great place to start because you can learn a lot about anatomy while still being able to have a little leeway with accuracy, right? So it's a little bit out of the box, kind of like what I was showing you previously with some of the, where'd they go? Got rid of them. I don't know if I can see that here. If you can see with some of the chibis here, they've got obviously these ginormous head and stuff like that. And some of the things don't really make sense, but they kind of do. It just teaches you about anatomy. So you can follow me along for stuff like that, because if you want to draw, I've met so many people that are like, I used to draw, or I want to draw, I just don't know where to go. Let me be your tour guide. So anyway, back to the show.
Thank you. I'm good.
Of course. So let's see. When we last chatted with Steph about 2 minutes ago, we said we were going to start with the head, and I'm just going to go ahead and start painting it red. But again, I'm going to be intentional with where I place the strokes and the color. Let me get this little dryer here. It's diluting. So I'm going to paint straight down. Or at least try to. I say straight down, but sometimes the brush takes a mind of its own. I can't help it. Here we go. And go around the eyes carefully. Which we can, of course, always clear it up. So what is it for you, Steph, that you like about, since you seem to be really into conventions, what is it about the conventions that you like so much?
I actually like shopping at conventions, but
Yeah, I hear you.
yeah, I like shopping at conventions. I like seeing all the costumes and cosplays that people come up with.
Oh, yeah.
If there are actors that I really want to see, I mean, that's one of the main draws for me too.
Wiley Dave, Red Hood, let's go.
And just, I don't know, just getting together with like all these people. Because I would go to conventions before, like, you know, we had panels there and we were actually working. I would go to conventions
Just to
before all
enjoy
that.
them.
Just to enjoy them, yeah. I really like seeing which actors come to conventions and stuff like that too.
Mhm.
But it's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun.
I think it's
especially
better
seeing,
going
like,
with somebody.
I think I was telling you this. Like, I love looking at all of the statues that I'll probably never get to own. But
Yeah.
one of my favorite things to look at is just like the handmade stuff that people do. Because that's
Yeah.
mostly what I would buy at conventions. I'll get like some comics and some action figures here and there, but I really, really, really love like the original things that people come up with. That's one of the things that I really love buying at conventions, are like the original things, because it's like walking into an Etsy shop, really.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. I know I like buying the artwork as well. I mean, some of the stuff like the statues and stuff like that, they are pretty cool. I know they had a bunch of Funko Pops and stuff like that there.
Yeah.
And I'm very particular with the Funko Pops that I enjoy. I only have a few. Some were given to me, so it's non-optional. But I think I've only purchased 3. I'm working on a 4th. I want to get Qui-Gon because he's one of my favorite Jedi. And that's kind of like where it stops. I have Bastila from Knights of the Old Republic.
Have you seen the Qui-Gon versus Maul set of Funko Pop?
I have. I like Darth Maul, but I just want Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
I really do like Darth Maul though. He's such a cool and interesting character. But yeah, so I have Cara Dune, of course. Actually, I bought that one for my birthday. It was like 2 days before all that crap exploded and they stopped selling the dolls and things like that. So I was like, happy birthday to Tabitha.
Yeah.
Wiley Dave says Funko Pops. No, I'm very particular. I don't like having a whole wall of them. It's not for me. Just a couple of them. I got my peek.
Yeah.
Well, some, like I said, they were given to me. Like somebody gave me an Eternals one, which she's really cute. And then somebody gave me a Pikachu one because apparently everybody thinks that I love Pikachu. Of course, I understand that I have Pikachu in the back, and I do like Pikachu, but Squirtle's my favorite. And then one that my brother found, I paid him. Oh, two actually, my brother found, and I paid him for because he's always on the hunt for he likes Funko Pops, and they actually had Sorsha from Willow as a Funko Pop. And I love Willow, the movie. And I really enjoy Sorsha's. I like all the characters, but I was like, they have a Sorsha Funko Pop. Oh, that's so cool. And
See, I like Funko Pops to an extent.
Yeah.
Because there are like I have Red Hood Funko Pops. There's like different characters that I want to collect in every version. Right. In every version, in every iteration. So like, I have Red Hood Funko Pops. I'll have back here. I've had some Funko Pops sent to me. Like TD has sent me some really cool ones. But I have the Cara Dune Funko Pop because like I just want to collect her in every version of her. So I have like her action figure Funko Pop and then like the mini ones.
Okay. Yeah, I've got the mini Funko Pop that was sent to me too.
Yeah, so I have all of the versions of Harley Quinn in Funko Pop because there's just like I want to collect like whatever I can of her, and same Joker, same thing. All of the versions of I have action figures, and then I'll have Funko Pops. And then I fell in love with that show Once Upon a Time, and the only versions of those characters that you can get in action figure form were Funko Pops. So I collected them in Funko Pops. So I'm very particular about what Funko Pops I'll get.
Oh yeah, I really wanted a
opposed.
Regina Funko Pop. Like out of all the characters, I just wanted like the Evil Queen. I wanted Regina, but honestly, I wasn't really happy with the look of the.
I think there's two different ones. There's Regina, the Evil Queen, and then she has like a fireball in her hand.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
One.
See, that might be cool because again, I'm even particular. Even if I want a certain character, if they don't look a certain way, then I just don't want them. But I was like, I really wish they had a Regina one, and then I found it, and it's like, and plus it was expensive because I don't think they per se they don't make or sell them, if you will, anymore as far as like mainstream, like everything.
No,
like it's a rare find.
Yeah,
and she's the only character I really care that much to have a Funko Pop of, but.
What's funny is that like after they did that, then they came out with like actual Once Upon a Time action figures. Of not all of the characters though. Not all of them.
Just the main ones.
They have Cook, Emma, they have Robin for whatever reason. They have Robin.
For whatever reason.
I think there's a Regina too, but I don't think that there's a Snow White or a Prince Charming or
what? They're one of the main.
Yeah, they came out later on with those. So I don't have those. I want them, but they're expensive now because they only did like I think they only did a single run, and I wasn't able to get my hands on them. And then they actually have a Captain Hook like statue that I want, but I can't get my hands on that either.
He got on my nerves. I didn't like him.
I love him.
I don't like him.
I love him. How dare you?
I know. I was like, should I say it? Should I say it? I'm gonna say it.
I love Killian. Oh.
I don't like. He's okay, but I think it's. I don't know if it's so much that he was the problem as the show. I never finished the show. I never watched like the last 2 seasons. I think. I just haven't done it yet. But the other thing was that, like a lot of shows, and especially because this show does really centralize on the redemption arc of the evil characters. Like, why are they the way they are? Which I'm okay with that for a while, but then it was like
not all of them though. Like not all of them. I think one of the characters that I found interesting that they kept her evil was Cruella. She was just evil for evil's sake. She was
right.
really cool. But I think like they expanded upon their stories and actually wrote something different too, like and also Peter Pan too. Peter Pan was just
He was
evil
pretty
for
cool
evil's sake.
because I was surprised that like how evil they made him. Like they didn't even try to make him good. Like they were just
No.
like, "Meh." Really quickly here, you might notice that I did 2 layers of red here to separate, and then I've only done 1 so far on the edge, so you can see that there's highlights and there's differences. But you might notice that I've spilled over into his cape hood thing here, and that was on purpose. I've got red and black, and because I'm trying to darken it up here. And let it basically like bleed, if you will, into the hood or this I don't know, this collar. And so it will make sense in the end, but I just wanted to throw that in there really quickly as I'm trying to, darken up the inside here. But yeah, overall though, I love the show. Like I enjoy it. Some characters were
Yeah.
great. Some
The
characters.
final season of it was terrible.
This is what I've heard, and I have a habit of not finishing series if I know like it's just not going to be good, because it's like if I really enjoy it, why would I want to have a tainted perception of that show? Or if you're like me and you come into certain franchises late, like 20 plus years late, like I love me some Stargate SG-1, love it. And I have the entire series on DVD unopened because I just like it's just precious to me. But anyway, I'm watching it and I'm falling in love with some of these characters, and I love me a good secondary character, right? Like the ones that nobody really like they're important to the show, but they're not the stars, And so I just like fell in love with Dr. Janet Fraser, and she's an important character and all this kind of stuff. She's the doctor, for crying out loud. And I was on Pinterest and I made the mistake of looking at some fan art.
Oh no.
And I found out that she dies. Well, it's not really a spoiler because the fact the show is like 20 years old. It's kind of like jumping into Star Wars and finding out that Darth Vader's Luke's father randomly on the internet. Like, how could you keep that a secret, And I was like, she dies? I was really distraught. And so I haven't gotten into season 7 because there's like, what is it, 10 seasons? And I just can't make myself do it. One day I'm going to. Everybody's like, you got to do it, Tabitha. You got to watch it. I'm like, I don't have to do squat. If I don't, I just keep rewatching. I just start over from the beginning and just enjoy it as it is, because it's like, I don't want her to die. I think somebody told me, and I think I saw that on Pinterest too, that she comes back in like an alternate universe or something, but it's like, it's not the same.
Not the same.
It's not the same. It's not the same. So one day I'm going to watch it, but until then, I know it would have been really cool if some of the Stargate crew would have been at MegaCon. I would have been like in line for that. I would have been, especially if Terrell Rothery, who plays as Dr. Fraser, would have been there, or Amanda Tapping. That would have been so cool. So you see kind of what I've done here is that it just kind of goes into nothing here. I don't necessarily want a chiseled line that you can see, just the idea of it, but you are more than welcome to leave that defined should you want to. Should you want to. Here we go. I'm going to add some more darkness to the forehead as well. We're almost done here. Hopefully you like how your painting is coming along.
I do.
Good. That's what's most important. Hopefully you've learned a thing or two, maybe, or like we were talking about in school, where you could learn something, but tomorrow it's like, what is a paintbrush? What is?
I like the water trick because that was really bugging me.
Yes, little tricks of the trade. Here we go. Now, again, with stroke direction, if you wanted to kind of make him look a little aggressive, you could add angles with the darkness up above his eyebrows. It kind of makes him look like he's squinting or something. But, you just kind of play around with it. Might not be the thing to do. Just depends on the painting. Here we go. It's pretty exciting to see some people from Twitch in the chat over there. Multi-streaming.
Ooh,
multi-streaming. I know I got notified a while ago because I typically will play music. See you, Forgotten Man. Thank you for joining. I know it's the middle of the day. You probably need to go drink some coffee. I know it's coffee hour for me. But I got like this notification that I had like copyright infringement or something like that over on Twitch, because I typically will stream music on YouTube, which is from YouTube onto YouTube. But I guess it's not okay to do that on Twitch, and they're like, hey, this has happened twice.
Really?
So yeah, can't do it on Twitch. Copyright. All right, so I'm going to start darkening up a little bit of the bright spot. I know that might seem counterproductive, but it's a little too bright. So I'm going to grungify it up, kind of make it match the rest of what we're doing. And I am going to kind of darken these edges like we've been doing here, so it kind of disappears into the folds of our clothing. There we go. And the water trick will be handy in here as well, kind of figuring out how to darken this up without overpowering it.
Oops. I need red.
There we go. So some of you may have only do Kick, no Twitch. Yeah. I have a following over on Twitch, so I figured I would use that for my art streams. And then I am now on Kick, where I do my gaming streams. So much fun to stream with people. Definitely preferred. I was playing Pal World with some ladies.
How do you
the
like
other
that?
Huh? How do I like it? It's okay. It's quite the learning curve, because it's been a hot minute, like I tell people, since I've played a game with the keyboard. I used to, when I was younger, like Jedi Outcast and stuff like that. I would play a lot of games on computer before we had consoles, for the young folk. And so it's been quite a bit to learn that. And some of the keys I might need to switch out, like readjust them or something like that. See if I can switch out the hotkeys or whatever, because sometimes it's like when you're fighting a creature and you want to tuck and roll or whatever, it's like it's the control button. And so it's like I can't quite reach that when I'm panicking and fighting this gigantic
That's how
Pokemon.
I was playing Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah, panicking all the time. I'm always panicking. And I like it, but I did tell one of my friends, I'm like, I don't know that I would play this by myself. It's not really a game for me to do on my own, but I really enjoy doing it with other people, for sure. I just think it's more fun too, being able to yell at people. There's some games where it's just like I don't even really want to stream. It's like this is just for me, but at the same time, it is kind of fun having the chat to kind of boss you around too. Sometimes some people come in and be like, "No, you need to do this." I mean, like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm dying. I'm dying. Like when I play Tears of the Kingdom or something like that, people have already defeated the game, and it's like I take my time, and so it's like I don't know what I'm doing. They're like, well, you have to go to the cave. It's on the other side of the river, and you have to have this. And it's like, oh, I'll just go over to the cow and tip it or something. But all right, I'm gonna add a little bit of highlight on the edges here. Kind of make it match. But again, we're doing simple. Oops, I lost the edge. That's important here. I don't want to see it's how this side is nice and angled. This side is rounded. You can see what the difference it makes. It gives him a little bit more of a Spider-Man vibe here. And this gives him a little bit more like of a sinister effect. So I'm going to try to color correct that, because I don't really like the Spider-Man vibe. I'm just throwing that out there in case you want your option. I enjoy watching people play. Yes, Nomi and Joe. Yeah, I played with them, and I played with Sevi. She was so encouraging. I met her at MegaCon. We're like, hey, she was so encouraging. We're all like laughing and making fun of ourselves. We're like, oh, I just don't get this game. I'm so stupid. No, you're not stupid. You just need to do this and this and this. She's so sweet. The thing I don't like about Pal World, though, is that, well, number one, there's a lot of glitches, but I know they're working on that. But the other thing is, too, is that So when you create a character, you know, that's your world. And if you want to play with other people, you have to create a new world, meaning you have to start over from scratch. So,
that's
yeah, which is really bad. Well, so the other thing is too, like, so we go and we play in like Nomi's world, right? Well, all of us then go and we play in Nomi's world. That's fine. So if I want to play with somebody else, though, that maybe, let's say, the group doesn't know who they are, if I go into their world or anybody's world, if I wanted to go into Sevi's world, I have to start all the way over from the beginning. So you could get to level 15, level 35, and have to start all the way from the beginning. And I don't like that. You can't insert your own character. You can't save and do it. Hi, Biggles Met. I may have met you. And it's Mrs. Sassy Sasquatch in the house. How are you doing? You're doing so great on your YouTube channel. Congratulations. I'm not your mom, but I'm being like the meme from Mr. Rogers. I'm proud of you. I want you to know that. I really am. Welcome to the awfulness that is survival games. It's nothing wrong with the survival game. It's just, are you just talking about, is like all games like that? All survival games are like that? Because that would be awful. I was being mysterious about it, Biggles. It was a pleasure to have met you. Okay. Think I've got the head where I want it to be. You can always kind of wash out and outline a little bit in black too if you wanted to, just to kind of change it up. I'll do that. Gives it a little bit more of a comic book vibe. I'm going to do that. Like, so my original one doesn't really have that. It's always a little bit softer because that's kind of how I like to roll. But I'm going to do this on one side so you can see what it looks like and decide if that would be something, you know, maybe you want to do. I wouldn't recommend overdoing it, but can be there. Let's see. Cavitino Calvaryman G says, do you have a favorite pal yet, Tabitha? Gosh, so we keep using the Pokemon names for the pals. It's kind of hard to remember all of them. But right now, it's not his real name, but I have a squirrely squirrel. That's what I call him. He's like this plant squirrel thing. I really don't remember what it's called. But anyway, this game is so weird. So you can create a submachine gun for your squirrel. And when you go attack other of the pals, right, you can put this squirrel on your head and he will whip out his submachine gun and shoot the other pals while you're engaged in a battle. And it's the coolest, weirdest, cutest thing ever. So he's slowly becoming one of my favorites. But there's so many cute ones. It's really hard to say. I really want one of the little elk deer. We don't know what they're called. We just call the elk deers, but they always travel in pairs and they always kill you. And it's a lot of fun. You should follow me over on Kick so you can watch me scream at my friends because they die. Well, to be fair, I always die. Hey, it's Doug B in the chat saying, hey, you too. Hey, chat. Hi. Doug B got to meet the glorious, the ever famous, wonderful Doug B as well. A squirrel with a machine gun that sounds more like Digimon. Well, you know, they're all the same. Dare I say that? When you get the head finished, I don't know where you're at, and I'm not trying to rush you. Just throwing it out there. When you get the head done, what we're going to do then is fill in the eyes. We're going to switch brushes because we're nearing the end here. We're going to switch brushes and use our detail brush to fill in the whites of the eyes. Now, the whites of the eyes aren't going to be just pure white. It's not realistic, and it will look really kind of creepy if we leave it that way. But we're going to, let me bring up the original. You can see really, it's kind of hard to tell in the camera, but there's actually some red and some gray in there as well, just around the edges to really make the eyes look piercing. So we're going to play around with that. And then we're going to use some black to carve out those lines that are in his mask. But no rush. No rush. I am in the mood for coffee though. I love me a good coffee in the afternoon. I purchased for funsies. I thought it would be a good idea to buy flavored coffee. It's IHOP coffee that's like fudge pancake flavored. Sounded kind of cool. I thought it would be like a mocha, right? I thought it would be kind of like a Starbucks mocha kind of flavor. It's not terrible, but the problem is that you can totally tell that it's artificial flavoring. So it's almost like they didn't even try to give you chocolate. It's more of like, here's synthetic chocolate.
Ah.
So like you drink it and all you can, like the first thing that the effervescence that just comes up is artificial. So I don't want to throw it away. I'm terrible like that. So I'll mix it in with regular coffee and it's not so bad, but I am disappointed that my purchase of $10 went to artificial flavor. I should have known better.
I only drink, like, it's very rare that I'll have non-flavored coffee.
Oh, really? Oh, it's very rare for me to have flavored. I was going to do it as a treat. Like, oh, today I'm feeling like fudge pancakes, apparently.
Yeah. But I'm very particular about the flavors though. Like yeah, like hazelnut is my number one.
I do like hazelnut. I don't mind so I am a big fan of like Starbucks specialty drinks for the holidays. I can't say that Starbucks makes great coffee, but like if you go to the parks or you're hanging out with people, you're traveling, it's like an easy go-to. I actually prefer small town coffee shops. I love discovering small town coffee shops. I actually have videos on that, guys. But anyway, but I do like the specialties. So during the Christmas season, they had, I don't know if it was the first time they ever released it or if it came back around, but they had did you try the spiced gingerbread? It was like spiced gingerbread chai oat milk lattes.
No, I think I had like a sip of it, but I'm not super into Starbucks drinks. Yeah.
I do like the specialty ones. Probably because we never ate out. We never had any special food. Because I was busy, eating SpaghettiOs from a can in the microwave. But anyway, but I really enjoyed that. I didn't know if I would because it said oat milk, and I'm not into all that non-milk products. But it was actually really good. I really enjoyed it. It was very sweet, as all Starbucks drinks are, but it was weirdly refreshing while being Christmassy at the same time. Because I know refreshing is not what you would associate with Christmas, because usually it's like spicy, warm, cozy, but I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
No coffee for you. Well,
I'm ready to go.
Okay.
For the eyes.
Thank you,
wait,
Debbie,
I have to fill in the eyes?
We were going to. So I'm switching over to my detail brush here.
Okay.
And I've now gotten red paint on my fingers. I gotta be careful because I'm wearing a white shirt. Okay, here we go. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get some white. We're just gonna fill that in first. This one's a little thick. Here we go. It's congealed a little bit while we were doing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fill this in. It doesn't need to be too thick of a layer because we're gonna color it anyway with the red here a little bit. But just kind of follow what we did. Used to make drip coffee, but I would mix a can Don Francisco Kona coffee hazelnut with a large can of generic coffee. I think it's kind of fun to figure out and play with the flavors if you've got the time and the money, because coffee is not really, well, the good coffee is not cheap. I do prefer Lavazza. My mom had that at home because a lot of you might know she's European and they take their coffee seriously. Especially my mom and her family. They love scalding hot coffee. How do you drink your coffee, Steph? Like literally, it will burn my tongue is how hot my relatives love their coffee and they can just drink it.
I don't like it that hot.
No, I don't either.
Like I'll make my coffee and then like let it sit for a couple of minutes and then drink it.
Well, or I put like my milk in it and that cools it down a little bit. Yeah. I don't know. They're like, if it isn't fire's breath,
I don't
then
want to burn my tongue.
I don't understand that. It's kind of like the people that can eat pizza that, like, for me, it would burn the roof of my mouth, but they can just somehow be fine. I don't understand. I don't understand. Okay, so I've got the white filled in here. And so this can be, let me see. I don't think it's translating well in the camera. I don't know if you can see that. But so basically the only portion of the eyes that I've actually left white in this original one, get this, my little pointer stick, is really just the center, and it's kind of like a diagonal line. The rest of it is basically mixed black red with the white. Because, you know, if you look at human eyes, yes, the white of the eye is white, but it still has shadows and it still has, you know, veins and stuff like that. So Tim Drake is one of the saddest cases of misuse characters by idiots I've ever seen. They dumped 30 years of continuity to make him gay. Why?
Yeah.
Because. Oh, I think I saw that on Twitter. I think I saw the outrage.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks.
I agree with other people. Like, if you're going to have these types of characters, just make new characters. Don't switch the existing characters. Now, what we want to do in the eyes here, I don't know if you can see that too. Let me zoom in. I forget that I can do that. Oh, hang on. Let me turn the slide off. Maybe that will help. No, it just adjusts. Well, that sucks. You can't see it. I don't know if you can see that tiny shred of... No, it's all bleached. It's adjusting too much. I don't know if you can see that tiny bit. Let me see if I can do it again. I'll do it maybe a little darker than what I would normally do, just so that Steph can see it. But it's important here. We want to get our angles. Not anything too round. You can probably see that, can't you?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so this, it's adjusting too much. This is actually, oh, here we go. Okay. This is a little darker than what I wanted it, or a little harsher of a line, but this is essentially what we're going for. Let me smooth this out a little bit. Here we go. Kind of like that, where the center is white. The edges are a little bit darker. And we're going to do that for both eyes. My method for brewing coffee is dangerous because I would not empty my filter until it is filled to the brim after several days of adding enough scoops for 3 cups. Well, you know, as they say, you do you.
What color did you use for that? Just white and black, or?
And a little bit of red. I kind of basically, whatever was left over in this little smudge of an area, I kind of just rolled my paintbrush in. I'm going to make it a little darker again, so hopefully we can see it. Are you interested in playing Pal World stuff, or is not something that you're really...
It
seems to be the
downloaded
rage.
it. No, I downloaded it and I haven't played it.
Yeah, I had to have a lot of people tell me, no, that's not what you're supposed to do, or you're not ready. I remember Sevi we were going to try to go up against this boss or whatever like that. We're like, yeah, we're all confident, like cocky teenagers. Like, we can do it. And she's like, no, you're not ready. It's like, oh, okay. She's like, you definitely need to be like level 11 or something like that, because you are not ready. I'm like, well, I guess we'll just go collect more berries and chop down more wood until we're ready. Thanks, Mom. No, we were grateful to have her help. But that's kind of the fun part with streaming with people. It's like you don't know what's going to happen. Everybody's different, and you yell at each other constantly. Well, if you need a pal to help guide you when you do play it, I'll do my best. I can only pass on what I
watched
have.
other people play it, and it looks a lot of fun. But like, yeah, I haven't.
There's a lot. You have to make your clothes. You have to make the benches. You have to make the farm. You have to make a house. You have to make the bed. You have to make nails. I feel like I'm playing Skyrim almost. Ugh. All right, so we got some. Let's see if we can get some cool eyes. It's so weird that I have to do it like this. It's really creepy. All right, so then when you have that, let me back this up just a wee bit so I get some space. Then we're going to finish this off by just taking black here and just basically those lines that we had when we first started his face, we're just going to put those back, kind of like that, you see? You can always add a little bit of red to it if you don't want it to be, like I said, like too comic book-like. I am going to go around his eyes too. And again, remembering those like a little bit more of like harsh lines. Whoops, I got a little white in there, but that's okay. Gray is fine. Dark gray is fine. Again, kind of feel free to have some creative liberty here. Do what looks right with everything that I've taught you, Grasshopper. Just kind of roll with it. Let's see. Not sure how many players are on Carlin's Palworld server. Maximum is 32 players rented per server. Yeah. So that was the other thing too. And I get it. You got to make money and everything like that as a business. But it was just kind of crappy because we were going to get Mags to play with us. We were already 4 people and we're like, hey, it'd be great to have Mags come play. She's really good at this. And you can't. We were already 4 people and we were like, oh, that really sucks. How fun would this be with a whole crew of people? And so you have to, upgrade and pay some kind of service to be able to have more than, and then, you could have up to 32. And it's like, we have gone from one extreme to the other, if you will. It's like, so you're only allowed 4 people, but if you pay this price, you can have 32. It's like, that's that's like a really strange number too.
Yeah.
Like, then we go from 4 to 32. It's like I just wanted 5, but okay. Okay. Let's see here.
Yeah, I didn't. The whole idea of like starting over too. That's pretty.
Yeah. So that's why, and they say, there's always they tell you that there's a bunch of glitches and things that they're working on right now. For it. So I'm sure they're taking into advisement maybe what some of the feedback is for the game and how people would like it to be fixed. But so far it seems like a lot of people are really enjoying it. So I'm going to say, have you tried Conan Exiles? It's also a survival game, which I think allows more players per server. I have not. Oh, okay. Yeah, around $33 a month to rent a private server.
Oh.
32 is like a 16 versus 16 numbers that you get in first-person shooter games. That could be why. All right, I think I'm going to rinse this out. I'm going to soften this up a little bit. Just for me, personally. Let's see, get some red. But we are reaching the end. I don't know if you finished yours yet. Again, no rush if you haven't. I want you to have the perfect touch. You got the touch. I want you to be happy with what it looks like. I'm going to darken this up a little bit and smooth out these lines because I didn't want it to look like tear tracks or anything like that on his face. Maybe he's reminiscing about the old days. He's still mad at Batman and sad, and I don't want that to translate. We want sinister. We want scary, apparently. Yeah. Then just kind of go around and, like I said, touch up stuff. Now you'll kind of look at, sit back, if you will, and you'll look and see, oh, this is too dark. This is too bright. And again, because we're using such a simple color scheme, it's pretty easy to fix things. There we go. Yeah. think that's better. And then, like I said, oh, let me clean this up a little bit. I've left one side kind of outlined, semi-outlined, and the other not, just so you can have and see your options of different styles. Let me clean up these eyes a little bit too. I hope everybody's been enjoying the show. If you haven't left a like, be sure to do that. Help the artist out. Eventually, player versus player will happen, and dueling players for pals will be added. I'm sure. I'm sure. Here we go. But he's pretty cool now. If I lift this off, because I didn't tape him off, he's got this nice bald spot. So his head is opening and all his thoughts are pouring out. But we're not going to look at that. But he's pretty cool looking.
He is really cool.
I need to know more about this character.
I need more white. Need more white. Okay.
Pretty good. I do like, for me, I do like that his chin is kind of disappearing a little bit into the darkness. You can still kind of see it, but it's just, like I said, it just adds to the depth and everything. Although I wonder if I should make his forehead just a little darker. Like at least in the middle here. Because again, the light is coming from behind, so. I do have this one part of his face that apparently the water has gotten to and it's taking forever to dry. So it's like, I gotta. Now, if
I think I'm done.
If we were real painters and we wanted to take a long time, this would actually just be our foundation piece. And we would clean everything up. But like, depending if you were like wanting the more fine aspects of it. But that would be our red hood. I think he's pretty close. There's always, again, there's going to be always differences because of the style. You can also see where I left the cityscape down here on this one, but I have not done it on this guy here, which he still looks really cool without the cityscape. With this kind of style, there's always going to be such differences because it's free flow essentially, and the grunge, you can never replicate grunge perfectly every time. But yeah, that would be our red hood painting. How did yours turn out, Steph?
I think it came out pretty good. Hold on, I'm doing something, a quick finish touch.
Of course, the quick finish touch is
a quick finish touch on it. I like it.
Oh, good. Better than the turtle. You can't really can't really compare this one to the turtle.
No, you can't compare it to the turtle
because it's total opposites.
Yeah.
Bright and happy, dark and serious. Yeah.
Serious.
Looks menacing. Thank you. D-subversion.
Are you ready?
Always. Let's see the grand reveal, everybody.
I'm really nervous. I think it looks cool.
And there it is. Oh, you have a much more comic book vibe to it as well. Look at that. I love that fold over there. It's so cool. Look at the way he just flared out the highlights too around the edges. He does look like he's glowing. This is really cool. Someone says looks bat ass.
Yeah.
That said that's good. Looks great, Steph.
Yay.
Steph Glow. He is so cool. You got a bunch of check marks.
Oh,
both are awesome. I was gonna say mine's a little different. But see, this is what's really cool.
Really good, though.
Well, but I've been doing this for a while. But no, look how different it is. But yours looks really good. Mine looks definitely like something bad has happened. Yours looks like he's about.
I feel like I need more. Like I think like the black here needs to bleed more in
a little bit, possibly. Yeah, so it's maybe less of a goatee look.
Yeah, I look like a goatee. It needs to bleed more. That's what I was trying to fix. I don't know how to fix that.
Well, it's just
water?
taking your well, you could do the water, and it's also just like, again, it's just finding the right mixture and balance of the red and the black and just kind of flicking it up. The way that you did the whites on the side, essentially kind of doing that as you go up. Hang on, let me bring this back up here. If I were to take this, so you would take that and just kind of go up a little bit, and then what you want to do is, if that's too much, pat your brush on a towel or whatever like that, get most of the paint out, and just carefully drag upwards, so it's just little by little. It's all about the layering. You never want to layer too much too quickly, and so it just takes a little bit of time, and you'll start figuring out how much you need to put on there. Doug B says, great job, Steph. See if Ripa needs another artist.
Yeah. How dare.
Gosh, comic book art is so different. It's really interesting, I find. Great seeing Tabitha bring out members of the Fellowship's artistic side. She's not the only member of the Fellowship that's going to be joining the channel. I'm going to be having Krista on too.
I got that right. Did I pick?
There we go. That looks a lot nicer. It looks a lot nicer.
Yeah.
Man, it does. So, like I said, mine looks like really dark and something bad has happened. Yours looks like he's about to take action for something, or like he is seeing something that has kind of surprised him, which is really cool and amazing that the power of lighting and coloring can have on a picture of displaying emotion without. He's got a face mask on, like you can't really tell what he's thinking, but just the colors and everything alone automatically put action to an emotion to her painting, which is really cool. I always love seeing the grand reveal. Thanks for having me reread some of Death in the Family by pointing out my mistakes. Seriously, I'll have to check out the prior storyline you mentioned. Sure. If Krista is coming on, are you painting a chicken nugget? You'll have to wait and see. You'll have to wait and see. Let's go 199. Absolutely. Well, we are so glad that you all stuck around for 2 hours and 45 minutes watching us paint Red Hood. Thank you, everybody, for coming out and supporting the channel. Again, subscribe if you haven't, and all of Steph's links, or at least most of the important ones, are in the description box down below. Be sure to check out her YouTube page where she's doing, was it TikTok talks? Is that what you're what are you doing?
Oh yeah. So I'm doing more streams on YouTube. Yeah. So.
I like how you just simplified that. I'm like, made it really complicated, and you're like, I'm just streaming more. Like, that would be really great. Well, anyway, thanks so much for being here, Steph. Everybody, you've been fantastic, and wait for
I'm all full of paint now. I'm dirty.
I actually am not, and I'm very impressed. I
outlined the bottom of his head.
I like that. It looks good.
Yeah,
man, it looks so cool.
You're like, stop.
Well, it's more of like I wanted to.
I outlined the bottom of his head.
It's funny because a natural instinct is to lean forward to look closer at something, but it really doesn't change how close I'm getting to your image to inspect it. Now, and the bottom of the bat looks good. I really like. You almost have like this line of a highlight on top of the bat, which gives it a little bit of a beveled look, which is really cool too. Adding a little bit of that, more of that dimension. Look at you. So
happy with it. It looks so cool. I know this was a challenge for you, because when I was like, I want to do Red Hood, you're like, I have no idea who that
is. I don't know who that is. Hey, just I don't have to know who it is to paint. Well, actually, that's not true. Sometimes it's really helpful so you know what the vibe is for a character, but that's okay. We did it. I did it. I learned something, and I hope you did. Well, you learned the water trick. So, well, thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us on February 14th, also known as Wednesday.
If I was watching this video, I would like it. I would like the video, and I would probably subscribe, because this is so thoroughly entertaining. And also, well,